Chapter 121, A Rival Appears. Jay and his Meowth with boots. Ash and the others turned to see a young man in a green coat standing behind them. Are you all right? I saw that flock of Murkrow earlier. That looked dangerous. Thanks, Ash answered. Even though the newcomer hadn't done much, he had come over to help, and they appreciated it. No problem, the young man waved it off. I didn't do much. Oh, by the way, I'm Zhai. They introduced themselves in turn. Jay's eyes landed on the guidebook in Xiaogang's hand. Are you heading somewhere? He asked. Yeah, Shuriken Ramen. If you don't mind, you can come with us, Ash offered. Shuriken Ramen. I'm going there too. Jay's face lit up. He seemed to be a fellow foodie. Leading the group, Zhai escorted them to Shuriken Ramen, where they enjoyed steaming bowls of ramen. As expected from a popular place, both the noodles and the broth were delicious. While they ate and chatted, everyone got to know one another better. So you're Ash, and you're entering the Caillou conference, Jay said, thrilled. We're rivals then. We met a rival as soon as we arrived. Xiaoyao smiled. Your Meowth looks strong too, Xiaosheng observed, studying the cat's sharp eyes. Meowth sat nearby, quietly eating the Pokémon food alongside Pikachu and Eevee. He's happily eating other people's food, Jay said with a smile. He then turned to Xiaogang, impressed. Xiaogang, you must have worked hard to become a trainer like that. It's nothing, Xiaogang said modestly, scratching his head. This guy's a mystery. With that strength, it could evolve into a Persian, but it refuses to. Jay looked at Ash enviously. You're lucky, Ash. You have a great breeder like Xiaogang and a dependable friend at your side. And Xiaogang cooks too, Ash added with a grin. Really? You should let me try your cooking sometime, Jay suggested eagerly. Deal. I'll make my best dishes, Xiaogang agreed. That sounds amazing. I can't resist good food. Whenever I challenge a gym, I always check out the local specialties first. Jay said, laughing. That's just like Princess. Xiaosheng chimed in. At that moment, Jay glanced up at the clock and bolted to his feet. Oh no, I'm late. He dashed out of the ramen shop with Meowth. Sorry, I have to go. Something came up. What's going on, Jay? Ash and the others called as they chased after him. It's the sacred flame, Jay shouted as he ran. I'm the torchbearer. I can't be late. Sacred flame? Xiaosheng and Xiaoyao's eyes widened. I heard the Pokemon League's sacred flame is kindled from the legendary Moltres, Xiaosheng whispered excitedly. They followed Jai to the Pokemon Center, where Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, and Chairman Damalanchi were already waiting. Sorry, Chairman, I'm late, Jai panted, bowing. Jay, torchbearer, he introduced himself. Chairman Damalanchi waved a hand. You made it. The flame has just arrived. A pleasure to meet you. Ash and Xiaogang stepped forward to greet him. Although this Ash didn't personally remember him, his past experiences had. Isn't it Ash and Xiaogang? Long time no see. Ash, congratulations on winning the Grand Festival, the chairman said warmly. Are you here to compete in the Caillou Conference? The league had been keeping a close eye on Ash, the new generation trainer, especially after he acquired a legendary Pokemon and helped resolve a major crisis. They were ready to assist him when they could. For example, the Pokemon slot Professor Oak applied for Ash had been approved by Chairman Damalanchi. Xiaoyao and Xiaosheng were stunned. In their view, the chairman was one of the most important figures in the league. And here Ash and Xiaogang were already acquainted with him. Yes, I'm determined to win the Caillou Conference this time, Ash said. Chairman Damalanchi turned to Xiaoyao. You must be Xiaoyao. You gave an impressive performance at the Grand Festival. Thank you, Xiaoyao beamed at the praise. The torch was lit with the sacred flame, and Jay, as the first runner, set off with Meowth trotting at his side. Chairman Damalanchi arranged for a car to take Ash and the others to the Caillou Conference venue. On the drive, he pointed to a special building in the middle of the lake. That Pokemon Center over there is dedicated to the conference. It's where the schedule and group assignments will be posted. Xiaogang, ever the responsible caregiver, reminded them, when we get there, remember to register right away. Of course, Ash replied confidently. Chairman Damalanchi continued to explain the venue, the entertainment area, shopping district, everything was included. The Alliance Conference was not just a place for trainers to clash, it was also a major commercial event. After dropping them at the Pokemon Center, the chairman left. Ash and the others went inside to complete their registrations. "You're Ash from Pallet Town, correct?" Nurse Joy asked as she processed his paperwork. "Yes, all set." Nurse Joy handed Ash a Pokédex and the official conference guidebook. Ash thanked her, and Xiao Sheng immediately borrowed the guidebook to look through. "Where's Xiao Gang?" Ash suddenly noticed only the three of them. Xiao Gang had disappeared. Xiao Gang, meanwhile, had found himself surrounded by Nurse Joy's and Officer Jenny's and was clearly in his element. "Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, I'm so happy," he gushed, grinning from ear to ear. Nurse Joy's and Officer Jenny's, a little uncomfortable, kept their distance as Xiao Sheng tugged at Xiao Gang's sleeve. "All right, that's enough. Don't make a scene." "This place might as well be heaven for Xiao Gang," Xiao Yao said with a wry smile. Ash thought to himself that any guy would be thrilled to be surrounded like that, but kept his expression neutral. After the brief commotion, they moved to a video phone and called Professor Oak's lab. "Ah, isn't that Ash? The Murkrow you transferred has recovered," Oak's voice came through. "Caw!" Murkrow flew into the camera frame and seemed to greet Ash. "He looks great," Ash said, smiling. "By the way, Professor, we've arrived at the venue." "That's wonderful to hear," Professor Oak replied. "I'll be doing some special training in the coming days, so I'll be exchanging Pokémon more frequently." "No problem. We're ready anytime," Ash said. "I'll help too," Xiao Gang added. "I wonder what other Pokémon Ash has that I haven't seen yet," Xiao Sheng said excitedly. To be continued. Chapter 122, Pre-Competition Special Training. Masamune arrives. Over the past 2 weeks, Ash had been rotating his team through intense special training, throwing every resource at them. The most notable examples were Combuskin and Beautifly, both pushed to gym level after consuming rare beginner candies. Several other Pokémon also advanced by at least one stage. Right now, Ash was focusing on his ace squad: Pikachu, Eevee, Snorlax, Charizard, Tyranitar, Pidgeot, Annihilape, Venusaur, Milotic, and Bagon. Except for Bagon and Milotic, the rest were at least gym peak level, arguably Ash's strongest lineup yet. Bagon and Milotic were weaker for the moment but had high growth potential, while the others were approaching various bottlenecks. "Charizard, take this candy." Ash handed an intermediate rare candy to Charizard. Pikachu's eyes brightened at the sight. "Pika! Pika!" It chirped to Charizard, and Charizard, understanding, snatched the candy and ate it without hesitation. A rush of power surged through it, and it tore through its previous limit. "Oh-woo!" Charizard roared, its elite flaring into the sky. Initial stage. Moves: Overheat, Blast Burn, Dragon Dance, Outrage, Flare Blitz, Dragon Rush. Charizard had undergone double specialized training from 2 legendary Pokémon, fire training from Groudon in the backyard, and Dragon-type technique training from Rayquaza with Ash. Its moveset was essentially maxed out. Ash's second elite Pokémon had been born. "Pikachu, I'll leave Charizard to you," Ash told Pikachu. Having Charizard train with Pikachu would help it stabilize and master its elite aura quickly. "Pika!" Pikachu tapped its chest proudly. "Oh-woo!" Charizard returned the look with fierce determination, and a bit of revenge in mind after the last time Pikachu had completely dominated it. Boom! The 2 elite Pokémon began sparring. They were training alone because tomorrow was the preliminary round of the Kai-Yu conference. Delia and Mitsuko, the 2 mothers, had already arrived at the venue. Xiao Yao and the others had taken the moms shopping, so Ash stayed behind to give the team one last push. "Next up, Eevee," Ash said, handing over a top-grade Firestone. Eevee tapped it with a small paw. The stone's energy flowed into its body, and in an instant, it flashed into the form of Flareon. Strength: Quasi-Heavenly King. Moves: Raging Flames, Sunny Day, Rain Dance, Weather Ball. Raging Flames. The user engulfs itself in great fire and crashes into the opponent, leaving them burned. Now Ash had assembled a team with several Pokémon at or above Quasi-Heavenly King level. He personally taught Bagon Dragonclaw, since most other trainers were occupied. There wasn't another option. Ash had to rely on himself, covering his hands with aura and sparring with the little dragon. After several days of concentrated effort, Snorlax finally broke through to Quasi-Heavenly King, mid-stage. After sparring with Vigoroth, it had learned Farmer's 3 punches, and Ash exchanged another powerful move in for Snorlax, High Horsepower. It suited Snorlax perfectly. Like Heavy Slam, the heavier the user, the more potent the attack, and now Snorlax was mastering it. Pidgeot's move pool was already solid. It was training alongside Melodic and Venusaur to push its performance further. Venusaur, one of Ash's veterans, had accelerated rapidly since evolving and was now knocking on the threshold of Quasi-Heavenly King. Tyranitar, which began with few moves, had learned many techniques by seeking instruction everywhere in the backyard. Groudon's special training had taught it several powerful ground and rock-type moves, pushing it to Quasi-Heavenly King. Late stage. Because its big weakness to fighting-type attacks worried Ash, he decided to give Tyranitar an Aerial Ace TM. It puzzled him why Tyranitar could even learn Aerial Ace, but it turned out to be possible. Without wings and with Pidgeot busy, Ash had no choice but to trade a TM to help Tyranitar get used to the maneuver. Annihilape was being trained by a Pokémon that seemed like a mischievous little demon, Marshadow. Every punch Annihilape threw was effortlessly intercepted by Marshadow. This all went back a few days. Ash had felt an unfamiliar aura within his own shadow. Remembering the rainbow wing he'd recently obtained, he suspected Marshadow had arrived. So that night, he used Mega Rayquaza and Primal Groudon to flush it out in a deserted area. Marshadow, confronted by two top-tier legendary Pokémon, was stunned. If it hadn't been pursued by them, would Lord Ho-Oh's trial have been meaningful? Even though Marshadow is divine rank, fighting two legendary titans with astronomical base stats is no small feat. In the end, Marshadow wasn't captured, but it was forced into an unequal treaty. One clause expressly forbade it from peeking from inside Ash's shadow. After a few days together, Marshadow's initial mistrust softened. It found Ash agreeable, and the energy cubes he provided were delicious. So it decided to seriously train Annihilape, which shared its Ghost fighting typing. Types: Ghost, Fighting. Moves: Spectral Thief, Aura Sphere, Close Combat. Just as Ash and his Pokémon were immersed in training, a loud, energetic voice rang out. "Ash, I'm here!" Marshadow melted into the shadows. Ash turned and saw a chubby, cheerful boy, Masamune, striding up. Ash smiled. "Looks like you got your 8th badge." "Of course." Masamune beamed, producing a blue badge Ash hadn't seen before. "Wow, so many Pokémon. Are these all yours?" he asked, taking in the field. "That's right, we're training. Don't lose before the match." Ash replied. "No way, we won't lose. Meet my partners," Masamune called, tossing out 6 Pokeballs. Beldum, Girafarig, Swampert, Steelix, Growlithe, and Gligar appeared. The strongest among them was clearly Swampert, already at gym peak, Masamune's starter. The others were well trained, their eyes sharp with determination, a perfect match for Masamune's spirit. "By the way, Masamune, have you registered for the conference?" Ash asked, knowing his friend could be scatterbrained. "Registered?" Masamune blinked. "What's that?" Ash rubbed his forehead. He hadn't realized Masamune didn't know the process. "It's a required procedure to participate," he said. "Registration closes at 5 o'clock today." "What? 5 o'clock today? Oh no!" Masamune panicked and bolted for the Pokémon Center. Ash glanced at the sky. The day's special training was nearly over anyway. He gathered his team and headed to the Pokémon Center for checkups and final adjustments before the opening ceremony tomorrow. He caught up to Masamune and walked with him, explaining the conference rules and registration steps as they went. Thankfully, they made it by 5 on the dot. Masamune completed his registration while Ash ran his Pokémon through their checks. "Phew, we made it just in time. Thanks so much, Ash." Masamune sighed in relief. Ash waved it off like it was nothing. As they left, they bumped into Xiaozhi, and Ash introduced the two of them. The three got to know each other as the conference loomed. To be continued. Chapter 123, Preliminaries begin. Instant kill. The purpose of the Caillou Conference preliminaries was brutal and simple. Whittle over 600 entrants down to the 256 who would advance to the main tournament. The preliminaries were one-on-one battles, and each trainer had to register which Pokémon they would use. That made many trainers cautious. No one wanted to send out a weak Pokémon only to have it trampled by someone else's ace and miss the chance to fight in the main bracket. Before Ash stepped onto the stage, Masamune, the chubby kid, had already started his match, fielding the Beldum he had trained obsessively. His opponent sent out an Electabuzz and, without any appreciation for how valuable an Arceus-level creature might be, taunted, This is boring. Give me something with a little more tension. Beldum surged forward at full speed with a tackle, but the Electabuzz casually kept shouting, "Here it comes, Electabuzz, use Protect." The electric type toyed with Beldum, blocking each tackle with repeated protects. He was playing with his opponent, but pride usually comes at a price. "Beldum, give it everything! Tackle!" Masamune shouted. Electabuzz responded with a confident grin and fired back, "Thunder Punch!" Arc lightning crackled around its right paw as it lunged. Under Masamune's shouts, Beldum burst with blue-white evolution light. The bulb-like body restructured, metal plates linked, and Beldum completed its evolution into Metang. The sudden surge of power turned the tide. Metang overpowered Electabuzz, claimed victory, and Masamune advanced. They cheered as they left the stage and headed to Jay's match. Jay sent out his ace, a battle-hardened Meowth, while his opponent, a twin pigtails girl named Yuriko, chose a Persian. Seeing Persian's evolved form, Yuriko immediately assumed victory. But anyone nearby could feel the intensity radiating from Meowth. It snarled with deep-seated hatred, as if it wanted to shred that Persian limb from limb. Even before the referee finished the instructions, Meowth charged. "Slash!" Jai ordered without hesitation. A white blade of energy condensed on Meowth's right paw and swung toward Persian as if to cleave it in two. Persian was quick, though, and easily evaded the blow. "Persian, Fury swipes!" Yuriko barked. Persian swiped its claws at Meowth. "Meowth, dodge! Double team!" Jai countered. Luckily, Meowth's rage hadn't completely taken over its mind. It obeyed. It sidestepped, creating dozens of afterimages to surround Persian. Yuriko smiled and ordered, "Persian, water pulse!" A swirling orb of water slammed into the ground, sending a wave through the arena. Persian's attack dispersed the double team. Meowth itself was soaked. There were no weaklings in this league. Every trainer was capable. After that exchange, Meowth began to dodge Persian's moves cleanly. "Iron Tail," Jai called calmly. Meowth leapt, its tail gleaming with a metallic sheen, and struck Persian hard, sending it tumbling. "Now Thunderbolt," Jai pressed. Yuriko panicked. "Persian, dig now!" Persian vanished underground, but Meowth's hatred supercharged its Thunderbolt into a devastating strike that tore into the arena. Persian surfaced only to be hit by a blindingly fast quick attack and was left unable to continue. "Persian!" Yuriko cried, stunned that her Persian had been defeated by Meowth. "Persian is unable to battle. Meowth wins. The winner is Jai," the referee declared. Meowth, however, still radiated murderous intent. It leaped forward, claws bared, as if it wanted to finish the job. If it had attacked, Jai would have been disqualified. Jai hurriedly called it back. Meowth protested and struggled, but Jai managed to return it to its Pokeball. Ash, his friends, and even Team Rocket, who were working as vendors nearby, had all watched. Team Rocket's Meowth looked thoughtful. It clearly understood something about the scene. Outside the venue, Jay explained what had happened. When Meowth had once fought for leadership of its Meowth family, it'd been beaten badly by a Persian. Its legs were damaged enough that it had to wear boots. That trauma planted a deep hatred for Persians and had stunted its evolution. Leaving the family and meeting Jai had been a blessing in disguise. Nearby, Jay's Meowth listened and actually cried in sympathy. No Persian was a good thing, apparently. Now there were two notable Meowth around. One had turned to study and intelligence, the other into raw combat power. The Meowth family, for now, was well represented in both brain and brawn. Starting now, the preliminary match between Ash and Genji. "Begin," the announcer called. Jay, Masamune, Xiaogang, and their mothers cheered from the stands. Genji, dressed in a martial arts uniform, sent out his fighting type, Shavron. "I choose you, Tyranitar," Ash replied, sending out his registered desert tyrant, his ace. Tyranitar bounded onto the field with a roar, immediately whipping up a raging sandstorm that filled the arena. Although Tyranitar is 4 times weak to fighting-type moves, the two Pokémon weren't on equal footing. Their levels were vastly different, separated by 1 major rank and 2 minor ranks in strength. Tyranitar barely glanced at Shavron. The fighting type visibly took a step back. "Shavron, don't be afraid. High jump kick," Genji commanded. Shavron forced itself forward, a white glow gathering at its knee as it launched a high jump kick at Tyranitar. Ash and Tyranitar were unshaken. Thanks to Tyranitar's armor and overwhelming advantage, it absorbed the 4 times effective high jump kick without flinching. Since you challenged me, Tyranitar, Hyper Beam, Ash ordered. Tyranitar condensed a massive orange-yellow beam and unleashed it. Xiaozhi, caught directly in its path, had no time to dodge. The Hyper Beam blasted it out of the arena, carving a huge crater into the arena wall. Xiaozhi was knocked out. It was over as soon as it began. The crowd went silent for a heartbeat, then erupted into cheers. An instant knockout. One move decided the match. The trainers who had been scouting fell quiet, taking it in. Zhai looked at Ash with a newfound seriousness. This was dangerous strength. Xiaozhi is unable to battle. Tyranitar wins. The winner is Ash, the referee announced. To be continued. Chapter 124, Preliminary Tournament. Doubles Showdown. Ash, Jay, and Masamune had all made it through the preliminaries to the main event and attended the opening ceremony of the Hoenn League Kaiyu Conference together. Chairman Damalanchi gave Ash the honor of carrying the final sacred flame. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Ash climbed the platform, lit the flame from Moltres, and officially opened the Pokémon Hoenn League Kaiyu Conference. After the ceremony, they headed to the conference's Pokémon Center. Xiaozhi kept flipping through his Pokémon Navigator, and Masamune peered over. "What are you doing?" "You can check the latest info on all the conference battles with the Pokémon Navigator," Xiaozhi said, grinning as he showed it off. "Wow, that's amazing! Is this the power of technology?" Masamune exclaimed. On the other side, Xiao Gang had turned beet red, practically steaming with embarrassment. "You can even check out all the beautiful trainers on the screen," he blurted. Everyone gave him a silent, sideways look. He was unbearably cringy. Only Spinda clung to him as if to offer moral support. Nurse Joy's voice piped through a microphone. "Now, we will announce the groupings for the Hoenn League Kaiyu Conference Preliminary Tournament." At once, every trainer leaned forward, eager to learn their opponents. There are 256 trainers in the preliminary tournament. The 32 winners will earn the right to participate in the final tournament. The preliminary tournament will use a best-of-3 format. All rounds are double battles, Nurse Joy continued. A murmur ran through the crowd. Choosing 32 out of 256 was ruthless, and every match being a best-of-3 double battle meant one loss could end a trainer's run. The pressure was immense. "I'm getting more excited," Masamune shouted, full of fighting spirit. No matter the rules, he just needed to win. "Now, the groupings will be announced," Nurse Joy said, and the public screen filled with the bracket. Ash was assigned to Arena C for the afternoon, Masamune to Arena E for the morning, meaning Masamune's match was about to begin. Ash and the others took seats in the Arena E stands to watch. While everyone cheered, two of the groups stood out for an entirely different reason. "Pineapple bread is absolutely amazing," Jay declared, savoring a bun, as expected of something sold only at the Kaiyu conference. Xiao Yao agreed, chewing happily. Both were holding pineapple buns and looking blissfully content. The rest of the group just stared. Masamune's opponent was a trainer named Karen, who led with Growlithe and Gligar against Masamune's Marowak and Macamp. Karen clearly had the level advantage, and she quickly noticed Masamune's tendency to launch head-on assaults. Still, Masamune refused to back down, fighting with raw determination. Gligar struck first with a flying attack and took down Macamp. Marowak returned the favor, felling Growlithe. Then it was a duel between the two ground-type fighters. In the end, Gligar's incredible willpower let it land a sudden Iron Tail that finished off Marowak. Masamune's stubborn, passionate style, the kind of all-out fighting Ash had used in earlier days, had carried them through, thanks entirely to the Pokemon's own efforts. Next came Ash's match. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth match in Arena C is between Xiaozhi from Pallet Town and Yuye from Inuya Town, the announcer called. "I choose you, Swellow Manectric." Ash sent out his pre-registered pair. "Swellow." "Manectric," his Pokemon answered. "You're up, Tropius." "Swalot," Yuye replied, sending out his team without hesitation. In type matchups, Ash had a slight edge. In raw strength, both sides were about evenly matched, each Pokemon at an experienced gym competitor level. If Yuye's strategy was strong, though, that edge might not matter. "Tropius, take to the sky. Razor Leaf, full power," Yuye ordered. "Dodge," Ash said calmly. Both Swellow and Manectric were fast. They zipped past the Razor Leaf barrage with ease. "Swellow, Air Slash, full arena sweep. Manectric, set electric terrain, and use rain dance. Ash seized control of the field and the weather. Swellow's wings unleashed a storm of air slashes that forced Tropius and Swalot onto the defensive, while Manectric changed the battlefield. A golden electricity crackled over the arena as rain began to pour. Swellow, gust! Swellow's gust lifted the raindrops and twisted them into a spiraling water column. Watch out! Yui shouted, but it was too late. Tropius and Swalot were trapped inside the water tornado. Now, thunder across the entire arena. Swellow, charge with aerial ace, Ash commanded. Gasps ran through the stands. If Swellow charged, it would be struck by the lightning covering the whole battlefield, the exact outcome Ash wanted. Bolts of lightning tore through the tornado, striking Tropius and Swalot, and even hitting Swellow. But Swellow endured, absorbing the electrical energy and channeling it into its aerial ace. Go, Swellow, Ash shouted. Swellow blazed like a streak of gold, cutting through the water tornado and taking down Tropius and Swalot in one devastating strike. Swalot was battered so badly it couldn't continue before it could launch a single attack. Tropius and Swalot are unable to battle. Swellow and Manectric win. The winner is Xiaozhi, the announcer declared. Unlike Masamune's gritty, spirit-driven match, Ash had controlled this battle from the start. Once he dominated the terrain and weather, Yui had already lost the initiative. Ash was incredible. That final move was spectacular, Xiaoyao exclaimed. The golden Swellow's finish was breathtaking. It's a bit hard on the Pokémon, though, Xiaosheng joked. As expected of Ash, he sets up combos so smoothly, and his Pokémon really trust him, Jay said approvingly. Masamune nodded, inspired. If I have a rival, it should be someone like him. Ash's second match was easy as well. His opponent wasn't strong, and Ash won using only Melodic and Kirlia. One more win, and Ash would advance to the final tournament. To be continued? Chapter 125, Advancing to the Final Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the third match of the preliminary tournament. Will it be Ash or Hinata who advances to the final tournament? Let's find out. Hinata! 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 The moment the commentator finished, a cheering section broke out for Hinata. He was practically idol-level popular. He's as famous as Gary, Xiaoyao complained. Xiaosheng checked Hinata's data on the navigator. It says Hinata's battle style is dazzling. Some people even call him the smiling conductor. Ash is a top coordinator. His flashy style isn't any weaker. Xiaoyao shot back. The match was already underway. Hinata called out, Charizard, Quilava, let's go. Charizard, clearly a late-stage gym-tier Pokémon, and Quilava, an early gym leader-tier Pokémon, took the field. Ash grinned at the coincidence and sent out his own pair. Kingler, Crawdaunt, you're up. Of course, it was going to be a crab and shrimp showdown. Both Kingler and Crawdaunt were strong enough to rival mid-level gym leaders, but Ash wasn't worried even facing Charizard's aerial power. Hinata's expression tightened. Ash's lineup countered him perfectly. Yeah, Ash has 2 water types, and Hinata has 2 fire types. This one's a sure win, Xiaoyao shouted. Hinata didn't want to fall into a predictable trap. He waited for his opening. Ash struck first. Double crab hammer. Kingler and Crawdaunt swung their massive pincers, aiming at Charizard and Quilava. Hinata barked a quick order. Quilava, jump onto Charizard's back and fly up. Charizard took Quilava into the sky, and the pincers' attacks flew harmless beneath them. Charizard, use Heat Wave. Quilava, Flamethrower, Hinata called. Ash answered immediately. Kingler, double Hydro Pump. Crawdaunt, Bubble Beam. The Hydro Pumps met the flames head-on and became a huge cloud of steam. A bubble beam cut through the mist and struck Charizard. The impact jostled Quilava loose from its perch. Quilava, send a flame vortex toward the ground. Hinata ordered, and Quilava managed to land safely. Ash laughed. Since you're down, don't fly again. 4-sword-style Shellblade. Kingler and Crawdaunt flanked Quilava, and each formed 2 Shellblades on their pincers. 4 slicing strikes left Quilava unable to battle. Quilava is unable to battle, the referee called. Charizard, use Air Cutter, Hinata urged, desperate to regain control. Charizard beat its wings and sent razor-sharp wind blades down from above. Crawdaunt, Tidal Vortex, Ash ordered. Crawdaunt condensed a giant vortex that sucked up the wind blades and shattered them. The vortex then surged toward Charizard, but Charizard easily dodged. Good job, Charizard. Air Slash. Hinata tried to press the attack. Ash countered with a combination of his own. Kingler, Icy Wind. Crawdaunt Swift. Kingler's icy wind chilled the air as Crawdaunt unleashed a volley of Swift. The little bird-shaped Swift attacks rode the gusts and were coated in a brittle layer of ice. Together, they formed a deadly, frozen Swift that pierced through Charizard's air slash and struck hard. Charizard reeled from the hit. Forget the flying advantage. Charizard, Steel Wing and Charge, Hinata barked. Charizard's wings gleamed metallic and it dove straight down. As Charizard charged, Crawdaunt condensed another vortex while Kingler blew a fierce icy wind. The two combined into an ice-sealed vortex. Charizard crashed into the frozen maelstrom and plummeted, dazed. "Finish it! Quadruple Crab Hammer!" Ash shouted. 4 massive pincers slammed into Charizard and it collapsed. Charizard is unable to battle. Kingler and Crawdaunt win. The winner is Ash. See? Ash is a top coordinator. Combination moves are second nature to him. Xiaoyao beamed, taking the praise as if it were her own. With that win, Ash easily advanced to the final tournament. Before the final rounds began, the competitors were given a day's rest. Ash skipped special training and spent the day enjoying himself with Delia around the venue. The next day, the long-awaited finals finally started, and Ash was scheduled for the very first match. His opponent, Xiaofeng. The Hoenn League's Kaiyu Conference finals are about to begin. 32 trainers will fight here in the main arena. Who will climb to the top? The commentator announced. In the stands, Xiao Gang and others cheered for Ash. Professor Oak and Xiao Jian were watching in front of a row of screens. Even Xiao Xia had closed her gym to watch Ash on TV, eager for his match. The rules for this round: a full battle of 6 Pokémon each. Trainers may switch freely during the fight. There are 4 possible battlefield types: grass, rock, water, and ice, which will be chosen by a roulette wheel. The commentator explained. Also, if 3 of one side's Pokémon are unable to battle, there will be a temporary halftime break and the battlefield will be changed. Now, let's see the battlefield for the first half. The roulette lands on rock. A rocky arena erupted from the stage. Craggy outcrops, jagged platforms everywhere. Now let's begin the first round match between Ash and Xiaofeng. In the stands, Xiaoyao leaned toward Xiaosheng. What kind of trainer is Xiaofeng? Xiaosheng was about to look her up on the navigator when Xiao Gang popped open a small notebook. "Don't worry, everything about the pretty girls is recorded here," he announced proudly. "Wow, amazing!" Jay grinned, impressed by Ash's friends. But when Xiao Gang began to read, everyone grew quiet. Xiaofeng is from Lily Cove City. She's known as the Cool Beauty. Her hobby is playing the clarinet, and her best dish is super spicy spaghetti made with spicy eggplant fruit. Nobody cared about those details. Masamune, however, casually remarked, "I like spaghetti." Xiaoyao snapped them back on track. "That's not the point. What about her battle style?" Xiao Gang sheepishly admitted, "Well, I mostly handle other things." Xiaosheng sighed and took the navigator himself. "Here we go." Xiaofeng analyzes her opponents in detail and fights according to that information. "Then there's nothing to worry about," Xiaoyao said confidently. "Ash has registered over 30 Pokémon. How could she have studied them all?" Ash stepped forward and called, "You're up, Bagon." The small, stubborn dragon type leapt into the field. Xiaofeng responded by sending out Venomoth, the bug poison type. "Let the match begin," the commentator declared. To be continued. Chapter 126, Duel with Cross. 6-on-6, all-out battle. The referee raised his hand. The match was officially underway. Venomoth, Paralyze Powder. Cross opened with a status move, aiming to cripple Ash's Pokémon early. Ash, Bagon, Flamethrower. Ash countered immediately. Bagon spewed a towering pillar of orange fire, incinerating the drifting Paralyze Powder as it surged toward Venomoth. Dodge! Cross barked, but Venomoth managed to twist aside and avoid the flames. Disable! Cross ordered decisively. Venomoth's eyes flashed blue, and Bagon's Flamethrower sputtered out. Disabled. "All right, Bagon. Rock Tomb!" Ash shouted. Bagon summoned a barrage of jagged rocks that slammed into Venomoth, trapping it and restricting its movements. Twister! Bagon whipped up a twisting gust with its tiny arms, a mini tornado that tore toward Venomoth. Seeing Venomoth struck by the whirling rocks, Cross immediately recalled it. Return! Golduck! Go! Cross sent out Golduck. Ash recalled Bagon. "You're up, Meganium," Ash said. "Meganium!" the big grass Pokémon answered. "Petal Dance!" Meganium let loose a storm of razor-sharp petals that filled the arena. "Golduck! Confusion!" Cross ordered, but Golduck's psychic attack was too weak to disrupt the barrage. The petals shredded through its defenses and slammed into the water type mercilessly. Golduck collapsed. "Golduck!" Cross cried. But to her relief, Golduck staggered back to its feet. Ash grinned. "Meganium, Fury swipes!" Golduck leapt to its feet and charged. "Body slam!" Cross replied. Meganium vaulted, pinning Golduck beneath it, then gathered energy. "Energy ball!" It fired a concentrated blast at Golduck's face and then withdrew with dignity. Golduck was unable to battle. "Meganium wins," the referee declared. Ash had taken the first point. Cross's expression tightened. That Meganium had been far stronger than she'd expected. She quickly swiveled another Pokeball open. "Scissor! Come out!" Scissor blinked into the field, sleek and red. Cross's confidence rose. Scissors against grass was a favorable matchup. "Scissor! X-Scissor!" she ordered. Scissor slammed its pincers into a rapid crosscut. "Meganium, stomp!" Ash countered. The ground shuddered under Meganium's feet. "Fly up, Scissor! Dodge and strike!" Cross urged, and Scissor took to a low hover, swooping in with a heavy blow. "Meganium, double team!" Ash called. Meganium blurred, creating afterimages. Scissor misjudged and crashed into a rock. "Giga Impact!" Meganium charged, its body shining white as it bore down. "X-Scissor!" Scizor answered, and the two attacks collided with a thunderous clash. When the dust cleared, both Pokemon were down. Meganium fell, and Scizor staggered, severely spent. Cross's face went pale. Her second ace had almost been lost despite the type advantage. The referee raised his flag. "Meganium is unable to battle. Scissor wins." Xiaozhi sighed. "It's tied." "No, Scissor's badly hurt. Overall, Ash still has the advantage," Brock assessed. Ash recalled Meganium. "Heracross, you're up." Heracross slammed into the arena. It hadn't been Ash's most trained Pokemon, but it was strong. "Scissor, bullet punch," Cross ordered. "Super Horn," Ash bellowed. Scissor's pincers flashed as it struck, but Heracross met the hit with its massive horn. The steel move pushed Heracross back a step, but Scissor retreated farther. Its stamina was low, and its raw power couldn't match Heracross. "Scizor, flash cannon!" Cross switched tactics to long-range harassment, firing a metallic beam from Scissor's pincers. Heracross didn't hang back. "Fly up, dodge, brick break," it snarled, closing the distance and slicing Scizor down with a brutal chop. "Now! Seismic toss!" Heracross grabbed Scizor, spun it through the air, and hurled it into the ground with bone-rattling force. Scizor lay motionless. "Scizor is unable to battle. Heracross wins." Cross recalled the battered Scizor and hesitated before sending out a new Pokemon. "Misdreavus, go." A small, eerie Misdreavus floated into the ring. Ash grinned, thinking it a test. "Heracross, Super Horn attack." Cross's voice was calm. "Misdreavus, Destiny Bond." Purple light flowed from Misdreavus's eyes. Ash's grin froze. "What?" Heracross charged without hesitation. With its power, it shattered the frail Misdreavus in a single strike. But Destiny Bond had been set. When Misdreavus fell, the attack latched onto Heracross. The horned beetle collapsed as well. The arena grew quiet as the referee announced, "Misdreavus and Heracross are both unable to battle. 3 of Cross's Pokemon are unable to battle, so there will be a 5-minute halftime break." "Whoa, Destiny Bond actually took out a perfectly fine Heracross," Xiaoyao exclaimed. "It's a move that, if the user is knocked out by an attack, causes the opponent to be knocked out as well," Xiaosheng explained. "A move like that? That's ruthless," someone muttered. Despite its deviousness, the tactic had worked. Trading a weak Pokemon for Ash's ace was a smart, if unsportsmanlike. People like Ash disliked such methods, but in competition, they were undeniably effective. To be continued. Chapter 127, Complete Victory in the Second Half. Rival Showdown. 5 minutes later, the second half began, and the battlefield changed to a water field. Xiao Feng, who was just about to throw a Pokeball, froze. Her face went sour. The unexpected change completely disrupted her strategy. Ash didn't flinch. He had registered a water type. "I choose you, Marshtomp." "Gara." Marshtomp appeared on the floating platform. Seeing Marshtomp wasn't especially powerful, Xiao Feng allowed herself a small sigh of relief. She hoped Ash's strongest Pokemon had already been knocked out in the first half, so she still had a chance. "Go Venomoth." Xiao Feng sent Venomoth back out. "Rock Slide." Marshtomp's arms rose and rocks tumbled toward Venomoth. Rock and ground were a familiar pairing. "Venomoth, use Confusion." "Hydro Pump," Ash shouted. Marshtomp fired a jet of water that smashed into the rocks Venomoth had stirred up, scattering them. Venomoth flapped to dodge. The rock splashed harmlessly into the water. Venomoth, paralyze powder. Venomoth beat its wings, and a cloud of yellow powder drifted toward Marshtomp. Marshtomp, jump into the water, Ash ordered. Marshtomp plunged in with a splash, and the powder missed. Marshtomp, water gun, Ash continued. Venomoth hovered above while Marshtomp fired from below. For a long moment, neither side could land a decisive hit. Ash decided to break the stalemate. Marshtomp, surf. Marshtomp burst from the water, sending a massive wave racing toward Venomoth. Xiaofeng's eyes brightened. Venomoth, fly higher and start charging Solar Beam. Venomoth climbed into the sky and began gathering sunlight. Ash smiled. She had taken the bait. Marshtomp, jump up and use Yawn. Xiaofeng's shock turned to panic. Ash had used Marshtomp as bait. If the match became a drawn-out war of attrition, Ash might be at a disadvantage. Instead, he gambled for a decisive move. Venomoth, still absorbed in charging Solar Beam, was hit by Yawn and fell asleep mid-gather. Now, Ancient Power and Rock Slide. The two rock attacks unleashed at once. Rocks rained down on the sleeping Venomoth as it dropped from the sky. The impact left it unable to battle. Venomoth is unable to battle. Marshtomp wins. Come back, Venomoth. Xiaofeng didn't waste time. Walrein, I'm counting on you. Ash recalled Marshtomp and sent out Snorlax. I choose you, Snorlax. Kabi. Snorlax lumbered onto the floating platform, its weight pushing the platform to its limits. Xiaofeng frowned. Sending a heavy, land-based Pokemon into a water field seemed risky. This was clearly her ace. She sent out Walrein in reply. Walrein, Psybeam. Snorlax, use Ice Punch. Snorlax swung a freezing fist through the Psybeam, shattering it. Snorlax, Mega Punch on the water surface, Ash ordered. Snorlax slammed its fist into the pool, sending towering waves toward Walrein. Jump into the water, Xiaofeng barked. Walrein dove beneath the surface to avoid the blow. Snorlax, Body Slam and Dive. Before Xiaofeng could react, Snorlax launched itself and crashed into the pool. The sheer force displaced a massive amount of water. The surge rocked Walrein and sent it spinning into the air. Now Hyper Beam. A surprising sight followed. Snorlax drew a Hyper Beam into its mouth, and while paddling across the water with surprisingly coordinated strokes, fired. The move executed with something like a butterfly stroke. The Hyper Beam struck Walrein squarely. Oh my, did I really just see that? Ash's Snorlax can swim and swim well, Xiaoyao cried. Yeah, Xiaogang said with a grin. Ash's Snorlax is special. They say it was caught on an island and learned to swim to hunt for food. Food brings out a Pokemon's full potential. Walrein was blasted out of the sky and slammed into the water, losing the ability to battle. Hiss! Snorlax was not only an odd swimmer, but incredibly powerful. Xiaofeng sent out her last Pokemon, a mid-level Dugtrio, but there was no hope in this water field. Snorlax simply swam over and knocked Dugtrio out with an Ice Punch. Begrudgingly, Xiaofeng recalled Dugtrio, bowed to Ash, and left the stage. With Ash's decisive victory, and with Jay and Masamune also winning their matches, the three all advanced into the top 16. That evening, they gathered at a restaurant to celebrate. This is so good, authentic stone oven pizza. Xiaoyao cheered between bites. Jai, another foodie, nodded approvingly. The crust is perfectly crispy and the cheese melts in your mouth, just like those food guides said. This is my first time in a big tournament. It's even more exciting than normal matches. Masamune enjoyed the thrill. He'd performed exceptionally well and made it into the top 16 on his first try. Everyone noticed the restaurant's TV was replaying today's battles. Watching Masamune's match, Xiaoyao teased him. Masamune, I didn't think you'd be so nervous up there. I wasn't nervous, Masamune protested, frowning. My heart was beating fast and my throat felt dry. Xiaosheng rolled his eyes. Those are the classic signs of being nervous. They laughed and joked until an alert beeped. Xiaosheng pulled out his navigator. Ah, the pairings for the second round are out. They finished their meal and headed to the Pokemon Center to check the draw. No way, Xiaosheng exclaimed. Ash faces Masamune in the next round. Masamune, show me everything you've got tomorrow, Ash said, his eyes full of competitive fire. Masamune hesitated. He wanted to win, but he didn't want Ash to lose either. Ash noticed the conflict and put an arm around him. We're not just friends, we're rivals. Respect means giving your all. Fight me with no regrets. Masamune looked into Ash's eyes, and something resolved in him. All right, I'll give it everything I have. That's the spirit. The next day, fireworks lit the sky. The Fengyuan Alliance Xiao Conference Final Tournament, second round is about to begin. The battlefield for the first half is the ice field. Who will win this match and advance to the top 8, Ash from Pallet Town or Masamune from Verdurton Turf Town? To be continued. Chapter 128, Showdown with Masamune, Part 1. Both trainers threw their Pokeballs at the same time. Go, Girafarig! Masamune opened with a normal, psychic-type Girafarig. I choose you, Murkrow. Ash sent out the Murkrow he had recently caught. Murkrow, use Black Glare. Ash grinned. Murkrow had the perfect matchup against Girafarig. Most psychic moves were useless against it. I won't back down. Girafarig Swift! Masamune snapped. Girafarig summoned a flurry of glowing stars and sent them flying toward Murkrow. Murkrow, Air Cutter! Murkrow beat its wings and sliced the air. Countless wind blades met the swift attack head-on. Smoke filled the rink. Aerial Ace, then Wing Attack. Murkrow dove out of the smoke and struck. Light Screen, Masamune called, trying to put up a barrier, but the pink light screen shattered under the combination assault and Girafarig took the hit. On the ice field, Girafarig slid into the rink wall and wobbled. Show me some guts. Girafarig double kick, Masamune barked. Sucker Punch. Ash countered. Just as Girafarig launched forward, Murkrow flashed behind it and sent it flying. Girafarig, Masamune shouted. Finish it. Double team into Sucker Punch. Murkrow split into dozens of shadowy copies, swarming Girafarig. Overwhelmed by the onslaught, Girafarig collapsed. Girafarig is unable to battle. Murkrow wins. I won't lose. Masamune recalled his fainted Pokémon. Go, Growlithe! Woof! Growlithe sprang out. Ready. Ash, switch! Ash recalled Murkrow and tossed his next Pokeball. I choose you, Torkoal. Torkoal erupted from its shell, puffing black smoke in excitement. Two fire types now faced one another on the fragile ice. Flamethrower. The two attacks met in a blazing clash. The flames melted the ice beneath them, sending up steam. Growlithe, agility to close, then Flame Wheel, Masamune urged. Rapid Spin and Flamethrower, Ash directed. Growlithe accelerated across the ice, rolled into a flaming wheel and charged. Torkoal withdrew into its shell, spun and belched fire to turn itself into a fiery top. The two attacks collided with a boom. Both fighters were thrown back and then regained their footing, Torkoal emerging from its shell steady on the ice. Not bad, Masamune, Ash said with a laugh. I'm fired up, Masamune shot back. Growlithe, Fire Fang! Torkoal, Iron Defense, Ash ordered. Torkoal's shell absorbed the bite. Now Body Slam. Growlithe, Agility. Growlithe darted across the ice. The attack missed, and Torkoal crashed down through the brittle surface, breaking the ice. Since you can be so quick, I'll cut off your escape. Torkoal, Shell Smash, Ash called. Torkoal's shell seemed to splinter and reform. Its attack, special attack, and speed surged in a dazzling display. Inferno, cover the field, Masamune roared. A furnace-like heat swept over the rink. The entire ice field glowed red and began to steam. Growlithe took damage from the sudden environmental onslaught. Ash has guts, Jay observed. Shell Smash sacrifices defense for raw power, and Inferno drained a lot of stamina. If Growlithe couldn't hold on, Torkoal would dominate. That's the Ash we know, Xiaogang cheered. Delia held Pikachu, who nodded emphatically in agreement. We won't give up. Growlithe, Flare Blitz, full charge. Masamune urged. Growlithe set itself ablaze and charged, the Flare Blitz intensified by its will. Torkoal, Overheat, full power. Torkoal unleashed a massive column of scorching fire. Growlithe barreled into it, still burning and surging with Flare Blitz. It flashed past Torkoal with blinding speed, and Torkoal collapsed. Ugh, Torkoal went down. Woof! But Growlithe exhausted itself from the effort and also fell. For a moment, both Pokémon lay on the ice, spent. Torkoal and Growlithe are both unable to battle. The crowd erupted. The fiery duel had set the rink alight, figuratively and literally, and in the end, it tipped ever so slightly in Growlithe's favor. The ice field was half ruined. Ash and Masamune exchanged glances and sent their next Pokémon out at the same time. Go, Swampert! I choose you, Sceptile! The Hoenn starters faced off, grass versus water. Though Sceptile was 2 levels lower, the type matchup gave it a massive advantage. Sceptile, Solar Blade, now! Ash began with a heavy strike. Sceptile condensed sunlight into a massive glowing blade and swung it down at Swampert. So fast! Masamune blurted. Swampert, substitute. A decoy Swampert formed and took the blow. Shards of ice flew where the solar blade hit. How did Steptile form solar blade so quickly? Xiaozhi wondered. It's drought, Jay explained. Torkoal's ability is drought, so the field is still sunny. Ash made use of that. Everyone realized what Ash had done. He leveraged Torkoal's lingering sunlight. Swampert, bulldoze, arm thrust, Masamune ordered. Sceptile, dodge, Ash replied. Swampert's massive fist swung, but Sceptile danced aside each time, and Swampert's missed strikes smashed into the ice, sending chunks flying. The rink looked like it might not survive the match. Leaf Blade, Sceptile's arms sprouted green blades and sliced through the air. That's more like it. Swampert, focus punch, go all out. Masamune called, committing to a risky, powerful attack. Ash refused to let him set it up. Quick attack! In a flash, Sceptile reappeared behind Swampert and slashed across its waist. Swampert staggered to its knees. Sceptile, finish it! Leaf Storm! Sceptile's tail whipped up a cyclone of leaves that tore through Swampert. Swampert is unable to battle. Sceptile wins. With that, Masamune's third Pokémon fell. The first half of the match ended with all three of Masamune's Pokémon unable to continue. To be continued. Brothers and sisters, happy Dragon Boat Festival. Chapter 129, Showdown with Masamune, Part 2. The second half of the match between Ash and Masamune took place on the grass field. I choose you, Pidgeot, Ash shouted. P! The king of Viridian Forest took to the air. Pidgeot was first out. Steelix, go! Masamune called. His raw power might be limited, but his fighting spirit wouldn't be outmatched. Steelix, use Dragon Breath, Masamune ordered. Steelix spat a green beam of energy at Pidgeot. Dodge it! Pidgeot, show them your speed. Steel Wing, Ash commanded. Pidgeot easily slipped past the Dragon Breath and dove at Steelix with a high-speed attack, its huge steel-like wings slashing through the air. The blow forced Steelix to roar in pain. Steelix, you're fast! In that case, use Sandstorm! Masamune cried out. Steelix summoned a swirling sandstorm that swept across the field. Let's see whose wind is stronger. Pidgeot, gust! Ash urged. Pidgeot unleashed a powerful gust that pushed through the sandstorm and struck Steelix. The storm itself didn't seem to harm the steel type, but the gust took its toll. Brave bird, Ash shouted. Pidgeot's whole body glowed as it dived at Steelix at breakneck speed. Steelix, show some spirit. Iron Tail. Masamune fired back, feeling his fighting spirit ignite. Steelix answered the call, its massive tail flashing with metallic light as it slammed into Pidgeot. The impact exploded in a thick cloud of smoke. Masamune watched anxiously as the smoke cleared. In the end, Steelix lay motionless. Pidgeot flapped its great wings and flew back into the sky. Steelix is unable to battle. Pidgeot wins, the referee announced. Amazing! Ash's Pidgeot defeated Steelix despite a type disadvantage, the commentator said excitedly. Now Masamune has 4 Pokémon down. Let's see if his 5th can turn the tide. Gligar, go, Masamune called, sending out his nimble Gligar. Gligar had reached a high level. If it evolved into Gliscor, it would be another ace for Masamune. Ash recalled Pidgeot and sent out his next Pokémon. I choose Noctowl, Ash answered. Ash's shiny Noctowl landed gracefully on the grass. Masamune stared in surprise. He'd only managed to assemble a couple of strong Pokémon, while Ash kept sending out different, powerful partners every time. Gligar, use Guillotine. Finish it, Masamune ordered. Noctowl's headmark flashed. Confusion, Ash commanded, and Noctowl's psychic power flared, trying to seize control of Gligar. Break free, Gligar, show some spirit, Steel Wing, Masamune shouted. Gligar shook off the confusion, beating its wings to retaliate with a metallic steel wing. Noctowl, answer with Steel Wing too, Ash called. The 2 flying Pokémon collided in midair with a thunderous clash. Iron Tail! Masamune suddenly barked, launching a sneaky counterattack. Gligar whipped its tail and struck Noctowl, sending it tumbling to the ground. Noctowl, are you okay? Ash cried. Noctowl shook its head, regained its balance, and took to the air again. All right, since you're heartless, don't blame me for being ruthless, Ash said calmly. Noctowl swift. A shower of glowing stars chased after Gligar. Mine's called feigning weakness to attack. Gligar, hidden power, Masamune replied proudly. Gligar formed a large white orb of energy and slammed it into the stars. They collided and exploded, then Noctowl vanished. Huh? Where'd Noctowl go? Masamune panicked. Gligar, dodge! It's too late. Wing attack, Ash snapped. Noctowl reappeared behind Gligar and slashed with its wings, sending Gligar crashing to the ground. Now hypnosis, Ash ordered before Gligar could recover. Gligar, lying dazed on the field, stared into Noctowl's glowing eyes and succumbed to sleep. Dream Eater, Ash continued. Gligar cried out as Noctowl fed on its dream energy. It lost its will to fight. Gligar is unable to battle. Noctowl wins. Masamune only had one Pokemon left, his newly evolved Metang. I choose Vigoroth. Ash sent out Vigoroth to face it. Metang, use Takedown. Masamune started as always, opening with a powerful charge. We'll start with Takedown too, Ash replied. The two Pokemon crashed into each other with incredible force, neither giving ground. I won't give up. Use Comet Punch, Masamune shouted, switching tactics. White energy flared from Metang's arms as it unleashed a rapid barrage of punches. Fire Punch! Vigoroth answered, igniting its fists and trading blow for blow. The crowd roared at the spectacle. Come on, Vigoroth. Give it everything. Focus Punch, Ash urged. I won't lose in spirit, Masamune declared. Metang, full power Comet Punch. They exchanged strikes until Metang finally took a slightly heavier hit and was sent skidding across the grass. It crashed to the ground and couldn't continue. Metang is unable to battle. Vigoroth wins. Therefore, the winner is Ash from Pallet Town. Cheers and applause exploded through the stadium. After Ash defeated Masamune, Mr. J also won his match and advanced to the third round. That night at the Pokémon Center, everyone checked their next opponents. This time it's Ash versus Mr. J, Masamune sighed, frustrated but resigned. Mr. J remained composed. I expected we'd face each other sooner or later. Ash, let's have a match where neither of us has regrets. Of course, I'll give it my all. Ash nodded. Good luck, Ash, Xiao Yao called. You too, Mr. J, Xiao Gang added. After the rival battle with Masamune, Ash met Mr. Pine J again for another high-stakes showdown. Now beginning the third round of the final tournament, the first match is between Ash from Pallet Town and Mr. J from Mobile City. The first half of their match would also take place on the grass field. Without hesitation, Mr. J sent out his starter, Sceptile, while Ash brought out Venusaur, the Kanto grass starter. The clash between Hoenn's grass starter and Kanto's grass starter was about to begin. To be continued. Chapter 130, Rival Showdown with J, Jim Peak. Venusaur, use Razor Leaf. Ash struck first. Countless razor-sharp leaves burst from the giant flower on Venusaur's back, a torrent of blades that looked like a mini-leaf storm. Jai's Sceptile was taken aback for a moment. Sceptile, Solar Beam. Luckily, the sun was bright today and solar energy built up quickly. Though it wasn't a perfectly charged solar beam, it was more than enough to intercept the Razor Leaf. The solar beam and the Razor Leaf collided with a thunderous explosion. Sceptile Leaf Blade, Jay ordered. Sceptile moved instantly. Blades of leaf flashed at its wrists as it lunged toward Venusaur. Vine Whip, Ash countered. Venusaur's enormous vines lashed out. Don't hold back. Go, Sceptile, Jay urged. Sceptile sliced through the incoming vines with its leaf blade, darting and dodging at high speed. It reached Venusaur, eyes locked on its target and ready to strike. Ash smiled. Your speed's still too slow. Petal Blizzard. A flurry of petals swirled around Venusaur, forcing Sceptile back. Sceptile, Leaf Storm. Jai gritted his teeth. Venusaur seemed immovable, impossible to land a hit on. Venusaur, Frenzy Plant. Ash answered without hesitation, unleashing a devastating grass attack. Massive vines erupted from the grass field, shattering the leaf storm and surging toward Sceptile. Dodge! Sceptile, Jay shouted. Sceptile barely evaded the frenzy plant to the right. To the right, Solar Beam, Fire. Ash's Venusaur had somehow already fully charged and blasted a solar beam into the direction Sceptile had dodged. Growla. Sceptile couldn't evade in time. The solar beam struck, and Sceptile collapsed, unable to battle. Sceptile is unable to battle. Venusaur wins. The grass-type starter showdown ended with Venusaur's victory. Jay ground his teeth. Ash was strong, but Jay and his team had pushed hard in every match. He wasn't ready to give up. He weighed his options and ordered, Go Shiftry. But Ash recalled Venusaur. In that case, I choose you, Muck. Muck's arrival withered the grass field immediately. Ash hadn't spent much time training Muck, but it had already reached gym early stage strength, earned on its own, not from rare candies, and its battle record under his predecessor had been impressive. Sludge Bomb. Muck hurled dozens of purple sludge spheres at Shiftry. Shiftry, jump, Razor Leaf. Shiftry leapt, evading the sludge bombs and sending razor leaves in return. but the grass beneath them was already being corrupted by Muck's toxic, yellowing and withering away. Ash had once again ruined the field. "Block it," Ash commanded. Muck's flexible, gooey body absorbed the razor leaves. They withered on contact. Sludge wave. Muck released a rolling tide of sludge that spread outward, leaving a stinging purple mist. Where it passed, no blades of grass survived. The entire field was ruined, and Shiftry had nowhere to hide. "Shiftry, go all out! Dark pulse!" Jai cried. Shiftry focused and fired a dark, pulsating beam. "Muck! Gunk shot!" Ash called. Muck spat a volley of foul sludge that broke through the dark pulse and struck Shiftry. The attack poisoned Shiftry and left it unable to battle. The referee raised the flag. Shiftry is unable to battle. Muck wins. The toxic dissipated, and the ruined grass turned into a ground field. Ash recalled Muck without hesitation. The audience stared at the barren field, stunned. This was the second field Ash had destroyed today. Jai now had 2 Pokémon down, while Ash still had all 6 of his remaining. "Go, Donphan." Ash sent out his Donphan. "I choose you, Donphan." Jay answered. Both trainers had the same Pokémon, and both were gym mid-stage. This one would come down to strategy. "Donphan, roll out." Ash decided not to bother with Sandstorm since both Donphan had Sand Veil. He chose a fence. "We'll roll out too," Jai replied. The 2 Donphan charged and slammed into each other, clouds of dust churning. "Donphan, roll out plus Ice Fang. Combination, Ice Wheel." Ash switched tactics, infusing the rolling attack with icy fangs. Ice encased the charging tusks, freezing everything in their path. Jay shouted in surprise, but his Donphan was knocked aside and iced over. "Donphan, Fire Fang," Jay countered. Fire flared from the frozen Donphan's tusks, melting the ice and freeing it. "Donphan, Iron Head," Ash answered immediately. "Headbutt counter," Jay ordered. The 2 charged head-on again, neither willing to give ground. "Ice Fang." Both Donphan unleashed together, their tusks crackling with cold as they bared into each other and suffered wounds. Both Donphan pulled back to their trainers, exhausted. "Donphan Earthquake," Jai then commanded, sending a tremor across the field. "Hyper Beam." Ash's Donphan concentrated and fired a Hyper Beam, blasting Jai's Donphan while weathering the quake. Both were near exhaustion, neither clearly dominant. Jay and Ash locked eyes and shouted at the same time, "Double Edge!" and Giga Impact. Bone-shuddering strikes collided. Sand flew everywhere as the 2 Donphans slammed into each other with everything they had. Both collapsed, heavily injured and spent. Nobody in the crowd could tell who had gone down first. Perhaps only the 2 Donphan knew the true result. With that, Jay had lost 3 Pokémon, and the match went to halftime. After the break, the field was reset to a durable rock field, and the battle resumed. "I choose you, Aggron." Ash sent out the steel giant first. Gravel scattered across the arena as Aggron appeared. "Is this maybe heavy metal?" Jay wondered. There was a power in Aggron's presence that a normal Aggron wouldn't have. Jay threw his Pokeball. "I'm counting on you, Hariyama." Ash frowned as he looked at Hariyama. Though they were similar levels, Hariyama posed a severe threat. Aggron faced a 4 times weakness to Hariyama's fighting moves. But Ash didn't plan to switch. A type disadvantage with a 4 times weakness? He wasn't about to back down. Would I, the master of type disadvantage, give up now? To be continued. Chapter 131, Breaking Fate, advancing to the semifinals. Rock Tomb. A giant slab of stone shot up and trapped Hariyama. "Hariyama, use arm thrust." Hariyama slammed his iron palms together and blasted the rock apart. He swung both hands and charged at Aggron. "Aggron, Sand Tomb," Ash ordered. Despite Aggron's sturdy steel armor, the quicksand pits that erupted across the battlefield pulled Hariyama down. He stumbled and fell into one of them. "Hariyama," Jay cried. "Now, Aggron, Earthquake." Ash seized the opportunity without hesitation. Aggron reared up and stomped the ground. The quake rolled through the trapped Hariyama, and with Aggron's mass, the hit was devastating, especially with Hariyama trapped below ground. "Hariyama, calm down." "Ice Punch," Jay yelled. Frost surged around Hariyama's palms, and the quicksand froze solid. He smashed free and burst upward, narrowly avoiding the last tremors. "Quick, jump," Jay urged. Hariyama leapt clear of the quake. "Brick break," he yelled, bringing his iron palm down from above. Ash reacted instantly. "Aggron, heavy slam." Aggron charged, its whole body glowing as it collided with the falling Hariyama. The impact sent Aggron crashing to the ground, but Hariyama landed firmly in front of it. Metal burst, Ash shouted. Jay's grin vanished. A metallic orb formed and struck Hariyama with a massive explosion. Smoke billowed out. When it cleared, Hariyama was half kneeling on the field, breathing hard, severely battered but still standing. Jay exhaled in relief. He hadn't expected Hariyama to survive a full metal burst. It hit with 1.5 times the damage Hariyama had dealt and ignored type advantages, yet somehow Hariyama endured. Aggron, go, Dragon Rush, then Dragon Claw, Ash barked, sensing Hariyama was at its limit. Aggron shifted into a draconic stance, spectral dragon claws extended from its talons. Hariyama, use everything. Double team, Jay shouted. The two Pokémon blurred past one another in a flash. Dust and rock exploded as they collided. When the dust settled, the steel giant lay motionless, unable to battle. Aggron is unable to battle. Hariyama wins, the announcer declared. The crowd applauded the intense exchange. Ash recalled Aggron and tossed a Pokeball. I choose you, Annihilate. Annihilate appeared with a fierce cry. The audience erupted in chatter. What is that? It looks like Primeape? Yeah, but different. The commentator cleared his throat. That Pokemon is called Annihilate. It's a fighting ghost type and an evolution of Primeape from the distant Padia region. Ash's roster was already registered, so the announcer could announce it without missing a beat. The crowd buzzed. Primeape could evolve after all. Jay's face went pale. Annihilape's ghost typing made it a direct counter to most of his remaining team. He sent Hariyama forward again. Hariyama, Zen Headbutt, full power, Rage Fist, Annihilate roared. It flashed forward, fists wreathed in ghostly energy, and slammed Hariyama into the arena wall. Hariyama crumpled. Hariyama is unable to battle. Annihilate wins. Come back, Hariyama. Rest up, Jay said and sent out his next Pokemon. I'm counting on you, Metagross. Zai's fifth Pokemon is Metagross. This will be a psychic versus ghost matchup, the commentator announced, noting that this Metagross was of quasi-legendary caliber. Annihilate charged. Rage Fist. Metagross Psybeam. Jay shot back. Annihilape's Rage Fist shattered the Psybeam as if it were nothing. Jai's resolve flared. Metagross Psychic, he ordered. The silver cross on Metagross's face glowed as it tried to seize control of Annihilate. Now Comet Punch. Full power, Jai urged. Ash saw his opening. Annihilate, break free and use Outrage. Rage Fist. Annihilate snapped out of the restraint, eyes wild. It surged into Outrage, swinging a furious barrage of ghostly strikes. The two titans collided. Metal met spectral fury. Annihilape's aura swelled and its Rage Fist pushed Metagross back. Then Metagross toppled. Quasi-legendary Metagross, it's down, Jay shouted in disbelief. Metagross is unable to battle. Annihilate wins. Annihilate yelled triumphantly as Ash recalled it. Well done. Pikachu, you're up. Pika. Pikachu hopped forward, excited to take the field. Jay sent out his final ace, Meowth sporting boots. The fate-heavy duel everyone had been waiting for was on. Meowth, let's give it everything, Jay urged, though he knew the odds were slim. Team Rocket's Meowth in the audience perked up at the sight and cheered for the battling Meowth. Meowth slash, Jai ordered. Meowth lunged, claws flashing. Iron Tail! Ash countered. Pikachu's tail gleamed metallic and struck Meowth, knocking him flying. Jai stared in shock. He knew Meowth's abilities better than anyone, but that blow sent him reeling. Pikachu, finish this Thunderbolt, Ash called. As Pikachu braced, a brilliant, tingling aura filled the field. Pika, chew! An elite presence radiated from Pikachu. The commentator shouted, stunned, Elite! Ash's Pikachu is actually elite level. That shimmering aura, the mark of an elite Pokemon, was unmistakable. The crowd gasped. Witnessing an elite in person was rare and electrifying. Meowth somersaulted through the air and retaliated with his own Thunderbolt, colliding with Pikachu's. But Pikachu's attack ripped through Meowth's effort and engulfed him in golden electricity. The crowd watched in awe as the elite Thunderbolt struck true. Meowth collapsed, unable to stand. Meowth is unable to battle. Pikachu wins. The winner, Ash! Team Rocket's Meowth in the audience slumped in disappointment. Their Meowth family had lost to a yellow mouse. What an irony. To be continued. Chapter 132. The conference ends. Champion! Ash, that was an incredible match. Jay walked up to Ash. You were amazing too. They shook hands as Delia snapped a photo. Since beating Jai, Ash had swept through the semifinals and finals. His opponents after Jai had proven weaker than expected. The toughest semifinal opponent was only at the peak of gym level. Ash handled the first half easily with Glalie and Vibrava. In the second half, Eevee faced 3 Pokémon on her own and showed no fear. The finalist was stronger, but Ash used Tauros and Absol to clear the first half, then had Combuskin defeat 2 more. By the end, the opponent was down to a single ace. "Go Aggron!" the challenger cried. Heavenly King, initial stage. Even though that final ace had reached the quasi-Heavenly King level, it was still far below Jay's strength. "For the final match, I choose you, Charizard," Ash called. Charizard burst onto the field, roaring. Unlike Pikachu, Charizard showed no restraint. An imposing, elite aura swept across the arena and made Aggron visibly uneasy. "Oh my, an elite again. After Elite Pikachu, Ash has sent out an elite Charizard," the commentator shouted. The crowd roared in approval. "Charizard, Flamethrower," Ash commanded. Charizard unleashed a massive column of fire toward Aggron. The heat wave hit hard. Aggron grit its teeth and countered with Stone Edge, but the rocks were incinerated in the blaze. Even Aggron was eventually engulfed. A winner has been decided. After countless intense and thrilling battles, the champion of the Fengyuan Alliance, Caillou Conference, is Ash, the commentator cried. The crowd erupted in applause. "That's amazing. Ash is the champion," Xiaoyao cheered. "The boy who didn't even understand types before has really grown," Xiaogang exclaimed. Ash's friends and family were elated. At dusk, fireworks filled the sky as the Caillou Conference closing ceremony began. "After so many fantastic matches that set our hearts racing, the Fengyuan Alliance, Caillou Conference is officially coming to a close," the host announced. On the podium, Chairman Damalanchi handed the trophy to Ash. "Congratulations, Ash." "Thank you." Ash lifted the trophy amid the cheers of the participants and his supporters. "The champion is Ash from Pallet Town," the host declared, and the applause swelled. "Every match here was amazing. Even just watching, I felt like jumping into the arena," Xiaogang said with a smile. "Ah, I want to become a Pokémon trainer soon," Xiaosheng lamented. "Then I could enter the league and fight Ash." Masamune's fighting spirit flared. "I'll win the next conference. My team and I will be stronger by then." Ding, obtained Alliance Conference champion, reward 50,000 points. First time reaching champion, reward, Blue Orb. With that, Ash's journey through Hoenn officially ended. He had obtained the last of the Hoenn 3's orbs, the Blue Orb. He didn't know where Kyogre was yet, so he stowed it away, certain he'd encounter it someday. That evening, everyone gathered for a celebratory banquet. The next day, they said their goodbyes at the port. Delia took Ash's champion trophy and returned to Pallet Town first. Ash and the others boarded a boat for Guchin Town. Mitsuko, not wanting to intrude on farewells, had already headed back to Petalburg City. Ash and the group sat on a patch of grass for one last picnic. Xiaogang set the finished rice balls on the cloth. "All right, time to eat. Delicious," Xiaoyao said, biting into a rice ball, though she pouted a little. "It's a shame I won't get to eat Xiaogang's cooking anymore. Mom's cooking is great, but Xiaogang's is the best." Xiaosheng agreed. They ate and chatted, savoring their last moments together. "You two are taking a boat to Kanto, right?" Xiaoyao asked. Xiaosheng followed up. "And Ash, you're going back to Pallet Town?" "That's right," Ash nodded. "We'll come visit when we can," Xiaoyao said. "I really want to see Professor Oak's lab," Xiaosheng added. "You're always welcome," Ash replied with a smile. Pikachu and Eevee chimed in with their cries. After lunch, they packed and reached the familiar fork in the road. "This is where we say goodbye," Xiaosheng said, disappointed. "Be careful," Xiaogang warned them. "Okay, take care, everyone. Pikachu and Eevee too," Xiaoyao called. "Goodbye," they all answered. Pikachu and Eevee voiced their farewells. They parted ways and headed for their respective homes. Ash, Pikachu, and Eevee continued toward Kanto. Passing through Viridian City brought back memories. Even if Ash himself hadn't been here much, his original self had spent a lot of time here. Unconsciously, Ash realized his Hoenn adventure had come full circle. "Pikachu," he said, and Pikachu nodded. Ash had planned to go straight through Viridian City to Pallet Town, but as they passed the Viridian Gym, he noticed it had been renovated. A red convertible pulled up beside them, and a man in sunglasses and beachwear stepped out. "Hi, you must be a Pokémon trainer," the man said cheerfully. "Yes," Ash replied. "I'm Ash. I'm Atsushi, the man introduced himself. He peered at Ash. "Oh, are you here to challenge this gym?" No, Ash said quickly. "I already have the green badge." Ash, Atsushi muttered, the name striking a chord with him. To be continued. Chapter 133, The Pokémon Captured by Xiaozhi. The Pokémon Captured by Xiaozhi. Chapter 0, Pokémon Caught by Ash. This chapter summarizes Ash's Poké, including those caught in later chapters. Format: number. Name, abilities, stage, Terra Type 0. Pikachu, static, lightning rod, champion peak, flying 1. Pidgeot, keen eye, elite peak, flying 2. Venusaur, overgrow, elite, later stage grass. Charizard, blaze, champion, later stage, dragon 4. Blastoise, torrent, elite, later stage, water. 5. Kingler, hypercutter, quasi-heavenly king, later stage, water. 6. Annihilate, defiant, champion, initial stage, ghost. 7. Muck, stench, quasi-heavenly king, later stage, poison. 8. Tauros, intimidate, quasi-heavenly king, peak, normal. 9. Snorlax, thick fat, elite, initial stage, normal. 10. Heracross, moxie, quasi-heavenly king, initial stage, bug. 11. Meganium, overgrow, elite, mid-stage, grass. 12. Typhlosion, blaze, elite, later stage, fire. 13. Feraligatr, torrent, elite, mid-stage, water. 14. Shiny Noctowl, tinted lens, elite, mid-stage, flying. 15. Donphan, sand veil, quasi-heavenly king, mid-stage, ground. 16. Eevee, adaptability, protean, champion peak, normal. 17. Swellow, guts, quasi-heavenly king, flying. 18. Tyranitar, sandstream, elite, later stage, ghost. 19. Sceptile, overgrow, champion, initial stage, grass. 20. Shiny Beautifly, swarm, gym leader, mid-stage, bug. 21. Aggron, heavy metal, elite, initial stage, steel. 20. Crawdont, hypercutter, quasi-heavenly king, later stage, water. 23. Gardevoir, trace, elite, initial stage, fairy. 24. Swampert, sap sipper, elite, mid-stage, water. 25. Blaziken, speed boost, elite, initial stage, fire. 26. Jigglypuff, cute charm, quasi-heavenly king, mid-stage, fairy. 27. Manectric, lightning rod, elite, initial stage, electric. 28. Torkoal, drought, elite, initial stage, fire. 29. Melodic, marvel scale, quasi-heavenly king, mid-stage, water. 30. Salamence, moxie, champion, initial stage, steel. 31. Rayquaza, airlock, divine rank, dragon. 32. Deoxys, pressure, legendary, mid-stage, psychic. 33. Slaking, truant, huge power, elite, initial stage, normal. 34. Flygon, levitate, elite, initial stage, ground. 35. Absol, super luck, elite, mid-stage, dark. 36. Glalie, ice body, gym leader, peak, ice. 37. Groudon, drought, levitate, legendary, later stage, ground. 38. Honchkrow, moxie, quasi-heavenly king, later stage, dark. The following were caught in later chapters. 39. Arcanine, intimidate, quasi-heavenly king, later stage, fire. 40. Charizard, second, solar power, champion, initial stage, fire. 41. Butterfree, pink Butterfree, compound eyes, gym, later stage, bug. 42. Marshadow, technician, divine rank, ghost. 43. Beedrill, sniper, elite, initial stage, bug. 44. Lucario, steadfast, legendary, initial stage, fighting. 45. Electivire, static, quasi-heavenly king, initial stage, electric. 46. Celebi, natural cure, elite, initial stage, grass. 47. Articuno, Snowcloak, champion, mid-stage, ice. 48. Nidoking, sheer force, quasi-heavenly king, mid-stage, poisonine. Aerodactyl, rockhead, elite, later stage, rock. 50. Ambipom, technician, gym leader, peak, normal. 51. Lapras, water absorb, elite, initial stage, ice. 52. Kyogre, drizzle, legendary, later stage, water. 53. Staraptor, intimidate, quasi-heavenly king, initial stage, flying. 54. Torterra, overgrow, gym leader, peak, grass. 55. Ursaluna, guts, quasi-heavenly king, later stage, normal. 56. Altaria, cloud 9, gym leader, peak, fairy. 57. Rampardos, moldbreaker, quasi-heavenly king, initial stage, rock. 58. Vespiquen, pressure, gym leader, mid-stage, steel. 59. Floatzel, swift swim, gym leader, peak, water. 60. Mismagius, levitate, elite, initial stage, fairy. 61. Infernape, blaze, iron fist, elite, initial stage, fire. 62. Spiritomb, infiltrator, champion, later stage, ghost. 63. Luxray, intimidate, gym, later stage, fire. 64. Gliscor, poison heal, gym leader, peak, flying. 65. Empoleon, defiant, quasi-heavenly king, mid-stage, water. 66. Drapion, sniper, gym leader, peak, poison. 67. Shaman, natural cure, serene grace, elite, peak, grass. 60. Darkrai, bad dreams, champion, mid-stage, dark. 69. Cresselia, levitate, champion, mid-stage, psychic. 70. Rotom, levitate, quasi-heavenly king, Later stage Electric, 71. Shiny Metagross, Clear Body, Champion initial stage Steel. Regigigas, Huge Power, Divine Rank. Normal 73. Hoopa, Magician, Divine Rank, Ghost 74. Togekiss, Serene Grace, Quasi-Heavenly King, Mid-Stage. Fairy 5 Garchomp, Sandvale, Quasi-Heavenly King, Mid-Stage, Dragon. 6 Heatran, Flash Fire, Elite Mid-Stage, Fire 77. Scissor, Technician, Quasi-Heavenly King, Flying. 78. Zeraora, Volt Absorb, Champion initial stage, Electric. 79. Levitate, Legendary initial stage, Psychic. Unpheasant, Super Luck. Gym later stage, Flying 81. Samurott, Torrent, Gym Leader Peak, Water 82. Crocodile, Anger Point, Gym Leader Peak, Dark 83. Embor, Blaze, Quasi-Heavenly King. Later stage, Fire. 84. Superior, Contrary, Quasi-Heavenly King, Mid-Stage, Grass 85. Defiant, Quasi-Heavenly King, Later Stage, Dark 86. Levani, Leaf Guard, Gym Later Stage, Bug 87. Golurk, No Guard, Elite Peak, Ground 88. Volcarona, Flame Body, Legendary Initial Stage, Fire 89. Shiny Volcarona, Solar Body, Solar Power Flame Body, Quasi-Heavenly King Peak, Fire 90. Scolipede, Speed Boost, Gym Later Stage, Poison 91. Flash Fire, Quasi-Heavenly King Later Stage, 92. Seismitoad, Swift Swim, Gym Later Stage, Water, 93. Jigalith, Sturdy, Gym Later Stage, Rock, 94. Victini, Victory Star, Divine Rank, Fire 95. Scrafty, Moxie, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Dark 96. Beardic, Slush Rush, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Ice 97. Zoroark, Illusion, Quasi-Heavenly King Peak, Dark 98. Braviary, Defiant, Quasi-Heavenly King, Mid-Stage, Flying. 99. Hydreigon, Levitate, Elite Mid-Stage, Steel 100. Shiny Steelix, Rockhead, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Rock 1-1. Meloetta, Serene Grace, Divine Rank, Normal. 102. Haxorus, Mold Breaker, Quasi-Heavenly King, Thage, Dragon 103. Kyurem, Pressure, Legendary Later Stage, Dragon 104. Reshiram, Turbo Blaze, Legendary Later Stage, Dragon 105. Shiny Genesect, Download, Divine Rank, Bug 16. Mewtwo, Pressure, Divine Rank, Psychic 107. Greninja, Protean Bond Phenomenon, Elite Initial Stage, Water. 108. Talonflame, Flame Body, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Flying. 109. Pangoro, Iron Fist, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Fighting 110. Vivillon, Pokeball Pattern, Compound Eyes, Gym Later Stage, Bug 111. Shiny Gyarados, Intimidate, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Dragon 112. Clawitzer, Mega Launcher, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Water. 113. Delphox, Magician, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, 14. Battle Flying Bird, Mold Breaker, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Fighting 115. Diancie, Clear Body, Legendary Initial Stage, Fairy 116. Yveltal, Dark Aura, Half Step Divine Rank, Dark 117. Shiny Aegislash, Stance Change, Elite Mid-Stage, Ghost 118. Xerneas, Fairy Aura, Legendary Mid-Stage, Fairy 119. Goodra, Hydration, Quasi-Heavenly King, Mid-Stage, Dragon 120. Norvern, Infiltrator, Gym Leader, Early Stage, Dragon 121. Moltres, Flame Body, Champion Mid-Stage, Fire. Tyrantrum, Strong Jaw, Gym Later Stage, Dragon 123. Gallade, Steadfast, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Fighting 124. Chestnut, Bulletproof, Gym Later Stage, Grass 25. Pyro R, Rivalry, Gym Leader Peak, Fire 126. Zapdos, Static, Elite Peak Electric, 27. Shiny Trevenant, Natural Cure, Gym Leader Peak, Grass 128. Flashing Gengai, Cursed Body, Quasi-Heavenly King Peak, Ghost 129. Mimikyu, Disguise, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Ghost 130. Dartrix, Long Reach, Superior Peak, Ghost 131. Vulpix, Drought, Superior Initial Stage, Fire 132. Lycanroc Dusk Form, Tough Claws, Gym Later Stage, Rock 133. Wishy-Washy, School Form, Schooling, Quasi-Heavenly King Initial Stage, Water 134. Golisopod, Tough Claws, Superior Peak, Water 135. Torracat, Blaze, Superior Peak, Fire 136. Mew, Synchronized, Superior Peak, Psychic 137. Nihilego, Beast Boost, Divine Initial Stage, Poison 138. Solgaleo, Full Metal Body, Divine Peak, Psychic 139. Jangmo-o, Soundproof, Superior Later Stage, Dragon 140. Poplio, Liquid Voice, Superior Mid-Stage, Water. This chapter will be updated periodically. Name: Ash. Gender: Abilities: Aura, Viridian Power, Harmony Power, Psychic, C-Force, Natural Power, Shining Power. Items: Universal Ring, fused from Keystone, Z-Ring, Dynamax Band and Terra Orb, Hatching Space Ring. Future creation provides an optimal hatching environment for Pokemon eggs, Darkstone, Lightstone. I got Pokemon, whether through fire, water, grass, or forest, in the earth, in the clouds, or even in a girl's skirt, though it's quite, very, very difficult. I must get them, get Pokemon. Leaving Pallet Town behind, I travel on, winning with honed moves, gaining companions and heading to the next town. There are no guarantees that everything will always go smoothly, but they are always there, giving their all. Whether in fire, water, grass, or forest, in the earth, in the clouds, or even in a girl's skirt, though it's quite, very, very difficult. I must get them. Get Pokemon. Tired from battle, good night, rest now. Close my eyes and it appears. Flames blazing, wind dancing, that clash of battle roaring in my ears. Yesterday's enemy is today's friend, an old saying. Today's friend will be tomorrow's friend, yes, forever. Ah, to become the longed-for Pokemon star, this wish must be fulfilled. Dreams will come true one day. Someone once sang that. Just like a flower bud will bloom, dreams will ultimately be realized. There are no guarantees that everything will always go smoothly, but they are always there, giving their all. Ah, to become the longed-for Pokemon star, this wish must be fulfilled. Ah, to become the longed-for Pokemon star, this wish must be fulfilled. Please leave a 5-star review, ask for more updates, and support with the free power of love. Thank you for your support, brothers. Salute. Chapter 134, Battle Frontier. Showdown with Elite Four, Grandma Xiaozhi. Ah! Atsushi suddenly grabbed Ash, eyes shining. You're Ash, the champion who just won the Hoenn League Alliance Conference, aren't you? Yes. Did the news spread that fast? Ash said awkwardly, looking at Atsushi standing right in front of him. No. Atsushi waved a hand. I have exclusive information. I know the champions from different regions. By the way, do you know about the Battle Frontier? Atsushi turned abruptly, not giving Ash time to answer. Let me tell you, the Battle Frontier is full of powerful trainers, equal to gym leaders, and some are even stronger. Atsushi kept pulling Ash along as he talked about the Battle Frontier, until a cry of pain from an old woman finally made him stop. Ash felt a wave of relief. They turned and saw an elderly woman with silver gold hair had fallen from her bicycle, a large bag of groceries spilling beside her and a parcel strapped to her back. The weight had knocked her off balance. The two of them hurried over. Ash helped the woman up, while Atsushi picked up the bicycle. Are you all right? Ash asked, concerned as he steadied her. Pika. Evie. I'm fine. I just lost my footing. It's my own fault for buying so much, the woman said with a wry smile as she dusted herself off. Let me help you carry these, Ash offered, taking some of the groceries. Could you bring them inside for me? She asked, nodding gratefully. Ash recognized her instantly. This was Grandma Xiaozhi, a member of the Kanto Elite Four who specializes in ghost types. So you're Grandma Xiaozhi, one of the Kanto Elite Four, he said. It is I, she admitted with a chuckle. She looked at Atsushi, who had stuck close to Ash, and said, By the way, Atsushi, still as energetic as ever. I heard you even went to the Seafoam Islands, and now you're interested in Ash? I have to be. I need to find strong trainers, Atsushi replied. And I heard Ash won the Hoenn Alliance Conference. Naturally, he's my target. Passion for your work is a good thing, Grandma Xiaozhi said, smiling and then turning back to Ash. How about a battle? Want to have a match with me? I couldn't ask for more, Ash replied eagerly. Pika. Evie. Grandma Xiaozhi's eyes brightened. Trainers lately have been far too weak. 2 challengers came by yesterday and were defeated instantly. I want to face someone with some real strength. They went to the battle ring. Atsushi agreed to serve as referee, and Grandma Xiaozhi stepped up first. I'm counting on you, Gengar, she called. Gengar, one of Grandma Xiaozhi's signature Pokemon, floated into the field. Ash's mouth twitched. Was she really using a Gengar in a gym match? This felt a little unfair. Still, Ash sent out his most trusted partner. Pikachu, I choose you. The air changed with the intensity of an Elite Four battle. Atsushi's eyes widened when he saw Pikachu. His information hadn't mentioned that Ash had an Elite Four level Pokemon. He resolved then and there to win Ash over. A young trainer with an Elite Four caliber Pokemon had a limitless future. Even Grandma Xiaozhi's expression turned serious. Pikachu, Thunderbolt, Ash ordered. Gengar vanished briefly into the ground, evading the attack, and then slipped into Pikachu's shadow. Shadow Ball, Grandma Xiaozhi countered. Gengar re-emerged from the shadow and formed a dark purple orb. Pikachu flipped, countering with Iron Tail, smashing the Shadow Ball. "Double team!" Grandma Juicy ordered, and multiple Gengar clones appeared, surrounding Pikachu. "Shadow Ball!" she yelled again, sending a storm of shadow spheres, some real and some illusory, toward Pikachu. "Pikachu Surf!" Ash shouted. Pikachu leapt and conjured a massive wave. The surf hit the Gengar copies and washed them away, leaving only the real Shadow Ball bearing down on Pikachu. Pikachu narrowly dodged. "Gengar, Hypnosis!" Grandma Juicy commanded the moment the Shadow Ball dispersed. Gengar's crimson eyes flashed as it tried to put Pikachu to sleep. "Electric Terrain!" Ash called quickly. Electric Terrain activated under Pikachu's feet, preventing sleep and foiling hypnosis. "Electroweb, then Volt Tackle!" Ash barked. Golden electricity raced across Pikachu's body as it surged forward like a living lightning bolt. "So fast!" Grandma Juicy exclaimed. "Shadow Ball!" Bang! Pikachu smashed right through the Shadow Ball and struck Gengar, sending it flying. Grandma Juicy calmly recalled her Gengar. "You did well. Come back, Gengar." She turned to Ash with a wry smile. "You're very good," she said. Then she pulled an ID card from her pocket and handed it to Ash. "Lance asked me to give you this. He knew you'd be passing through Viridian City, so he wanted me to pass this along. It's an officer's ID. With it, you can authorize any Jenny anywhere. Of course, you may refuse." Ash accepted it. Though it obligated him to act for the League when needed, it came with privileges, access to restricted areas, authority in emergencies. He took it without hesitation. "And this," Grandma Juicy added, handing Ash a Pokeball. "This is the reward Lance secured for you during the conflict with Team Aqua and Team Magma." Ash opened the ball. A spirited Growlithe burst out, tail wagging and ready to fight. Grandma Juicy nodded. "This Growlithe is one of the most promising young members of the Jenny family. Lance put a lot of effort into getting him for you." Ash couldn't help but smile. The implication was clear. Lance was binding him closer to the League by giving him such a valuable companion. Growlithe, Type Fire, ability Intimidate, lowers the opponent's attack upon entering battle. Strength, Normal Peak, moves, Flame Wheel, Will-O-Wisp, Flame Vortex, Bite, Dig, Snarl. The impressive move set made Ash's heart race. He accepted Growlithe gratefully. After farewells, Ash and Atsushi left the gym together. Atsushi was full of praise. Ash had actually bested a member of the Elite Four. He took the opportunity to press Ash about the Battle Frontier, explaining its rules and boasting that some Frontier brains were on par with, or even stronger than, Elite Four members. He especially mentioned Kikuyo of the Battle Pyramid, who was rumored to possess 3 eternal Pokémon and to be no weaker than any Elite Four member. Ash said he'd consider participating. Atsushi was overjoyed. Finally, they parted ways, and Ash, with Pikachu and Eevee at his side and Growlithe by his belt, continued on toward Pallet Town. To be continued. Chapter 135, Return to Pallet Town. Everyone assembles. The first thing Ash did upon returning to Pallet Town was, of course, go home. "I'm back," he called. "Pikapi, Eevee, Togetic." Togetic was the first to fly out the door, all light and cheerful, welcoming him home. "Togetic, you came out too," Ash said, surprised to see it. "Welcome back, Ash." Xiaozhi stepped out and smiled. "Long time no see, Ash, Pikachu, and Eevee." Pikachu leaped happily from Ash's shoulder into Xiaoxia's arms. Eevee greeted her from Ash's other shoulder. "Congratulations on becoming the Hoenn champion," Xiaoxia said, gently stroking Pikachu's head. "Professor Oak told me you'd be coming back soon, so I waited here at your house." Delia emerged with Professor Oak, Delia saying teasingly, "She came specifically to wait for you." The hint in her voice made Xiaoxia blush. Professor Oak brightened. "I'm glad you've returned safely." His eyes flicked to the Pokeball at Ash's waist. An Azurill suddenly scurried up to Xiaoxia's feet. She scooped it up and introduced it. "This hatched from the Pokemon egg Kenji gave me not long ago." "So cute," Ash said, reaching out to pet the little Azurill. Pikachu beamed. "I made a lot of things you like to eat, Ash," Delia added with a smile, watching them. They were about to sit down to eat when the car horn sounded outside. Everyone opened the door to find Dr. Otamaki and Xiao Sheng on the doorstep. "Ash, I'm here," Xiao Sheng blurted. "Xiao Sheng, Dr. Otamaki, what are you doing here?" Ash exclaimed. Xiao Sheng scratched his head and grinned, embarrassed. Princess is going to challenge the Kanto region gorgeous competition. She snuck off, so I chased after her and happened to bump into Dr. Otomaki on his way to Professor Oak's lab. So you hitched a tailwind to find me, Ash said, folding his arms and trying to look stern. Wait till Xiaoyao gets here and sees how you behaved. Delia insisted they all eat together, and Ash's return made the household exceptionally lively. Ash spent the evening telling Xiaoxia stories about his Hoenn journey. They talked and laughed until Delia finally had to tell them to get some rest. The next morning, Ash and Xiaoxia headed straight to Professor Oak's lab to reunite with their Pokémon. Dr. Otomaki and Xiao Sheng had been taken to stay at the Yamako Research Institute the night before. Not long after Ash and Xiaoxia left the house, Xiao Yao arrived. Delia welcomed her exuberantly, led her inside, and then took her over to Professor Oak's lab to find Ash. At the lab, Professor Oak and Dr. Otomaki were eager to show Ash the Rayquaza. New trainers would be starting their journeys soon, so Kenji, Xiao Sheng, and Xiaoxia were caring for the starter Pokémon. They're all so small and cute. Xiao Sheng laughed, looking at the tiny starters. These are perfect for beginners, Xiaoxia said. Xiao Sheng reached out to touch Squirtle, but startled it instead, and it began to cry. Flustered, he kept apologizing until Squirtle finally stopped, gobbling food with tears still in its eyes. Kenji, who'd been sketching the starters, chuckled. Xiao Sheng, this Squirtle really is a crybaby personality-wise. When it was time for the starters to rest, Xiao Sheng volunteered to recall them. He called back Bulbasaur and Charmander first. Squirtle, seeing its friends disappear, burst into tears and jumped off the table. Xiao Sheng chased it around the lab until Squirtle ran toward the stairs and into Xiao Yao's arms. Xiao Yao took Squirtle up and scolded. Xiao Sheng, how could you make a Pokémon cry like that? Princess! Xiao Sheng took an involuntary step back, forcing a nervous smile. No, actually. Bang! Xiao Yao gave him a light punch. Then she froze and covered her mouth. Wait, Xiao Sheng, why are you here? I thought I left you at home. Seeing her slip, Xiao Sheng straightened, pointed at her, and grinned triumphantly. You did it on purpose. You secretly came to find Ash behind my back. At that moment, Professor Oak and Dr. Otomaki returned with Ash. Dr. Otomaki explained the situation, and Xiao Yao, having heard, thanked him. She looked at Xiao Sheng and said, slightly exasperated, You don't need to go to such lengths next time. How am I unnecessary? Xiao Sheng protested. With Xiao Yao deciding to enter the Kanto region gorgeous competition and Ash planning to compete there alongside his Battle Frontier activities, they all agreed to travel together again. Xiao Sheng said he would first ask Senri for permission, but given how Senri liked his quiet time, it seemed likely Xiao Sheng would end up joining Ash's group. Afterward, Ash led everyone up to Groudon's mountain, where he told his Pokémon to gather. Xiaoxia gaped at the sight. Oh my, so these are Rayquaza, Groudon, and Deoxys. Even though Ash had told her about them, seeing the legendary Pokémon in person felt unreal. Long time no see, Groudon, and Rayquaza, Ash greeted. Groudon swiped a claw in greeting, and Rayquaza, the green serpent in the sky, answered in kind. Ash's Pokémon charged forward, led by Meganium. A herd of Tauros thundered up behind them, making Xiao Sheng exclaim, Whoa! So many Tauros! Pidgeot flew in, leading the flying types from above, and Snorlax lumbered up more slowly but steadily. Everyone, come out! Ash called, releasing the Pokémon he'd been carrying. A newly appeared Growlithe bounded forward and instantly stole everyone's attention. A Growlithe? So cute! When did you catch it, Ash? Xiao Yao asked, surprised. Ash explained how he had met Grandma Juicy and earned the Growlithe. The others were astonished to learn that Grandma Juicy, the mysterious ghost elite, was actually a gym leader in Viridian City. Only Professor Oak took a step back, silent and somewhat unnerved that someone so close to him now held that secret. Xiao Yao released the Pokémon she'd brought to introduce, Blaziken, Bulbasaur, Munchlax, and Melodic. The rest she had left at home. Everyone settled in, enjoying the reunion and the happy commotion, until a shadow shifted at Ash's feet, and a demonic child suddenly emerged from Ash's shadow. To be continued. Chapter 136, Let's Go, Reunion with Squirtle. This is... Professor Oak and Professor Otomaki stared in surprise at Marshadow, who looked like a little demon child. Marshadow looked at Ash, and at that moment, the rainbow feather in Ash's backpack glowed. Ash took it out, nodded at Marshadow and said, I understand. Marsha! At Ash's command, Marshadow fell silent and slipped back into Ash's shadow. That's Marshadow, Ho-Oh's legendary messenger, Marshadow. Professor Oak grabbed Ash's shoulders excitedly and shook him, then looked intently at the feather in Ash's hand. Ho-Oh's rainbow feather. Ash, have you really gained Ho-Oh's favor? Professor Otamaki's eyes sparkled as he looked at the feather too. Ash thought about his past self having seen Ho-Oh twice and nodded to himself. Maybe that counted as being recognized. Ho-Oh is about to reappear in the human world, Professor Oak exclaimed. Ash quietly led everyone away from the laboratory and asked Xiaozhi, do you want to come with us to Ho-Oh's trial? Really? Xiaozhi blinked in surprise. I can see Ho-Oh too? As they were preparing to leave Professor Oak's lab, the crying beginner Squirtle had wandered in and immediately fallen for Xiao Yao. Professor Oak, generous as ever, simply handed the Squirtle to Xiao Yao. Ash shot Oak a resentful look. He hadn't even gotten a starter Pokemon from him. Meanwhile, Xiao Sheng called home, and to keep him with the group, Senri shared his training experience with Vigoroth and Slaking. The next morning, under Marshadow's guidance, Ash and the others set off. Ash's team, Pikachu, Eevee, Pidgeot, Charizard, Xiaozhi, Xiaolu, Groudon, Venusaur, Rayquaza. Ash decided to bring his original lineup plus his legendary Pokemon to challenge Ho-Oh. Before they left, Professor Oak thoughtfully upgraded the Pokedexes for Ash and Xiao Yao. Under Oak's reluctant gaze, Ash and the others departed Pallet Town. Not long after leaving, at a crossroads, a familiar voice called out, Hey, you guys up ahead! They turned and saw Si Lang step into view. You wouldn't forget me, would you? He smiled. Si Lang, everyone cried. Pikachu! Eevee! Pikachu and Eevee's cheerful cries were like a meal ticket for Si Lang. You're actually going to Ho-Oh's trial! Si Lang exclaimed when he learned their destination. Great, let's go for Ho-Oh! The group of 4 became 5 and continued under Marshadow's guidance. They arrived unexpectedly in a town. Xiaoxia frowned, examining the streets. This feels familiar. Si Lang nodded. Pikachu's bright little face lit up first. Pikachu, did you remember something? Ash asked. Pikachu. Pikachu jumped off Ash's shoulder and ran in a direction, and everyone followed. Pikachu led them straight into the police station. This is Officer Jenny's station, right? Xiao Yao asked. From the training ground beside the station came a familiar shout. Squirtle, use water gun. Squirtle. Ash's eyes brightened. Pikachu confirmed his hunch with an excited chirp. Jenny, I'm here. Si Lang blurted, rushing off. Xiao Xia pinched Si Lang's ear to bring him back to his senses. A heartbreak pattern Spinda that had just popped out cocked its head in confusion. Why had the person changed? Xiao Xia noticed the heartbreak Spinda pattern and laughed. Si Lang, that really suits you. Si Lang fell silent. At that moment, Xiao Xia's Psyduck waddled out, looking confused. Hey, what are you doing out here? Xiao Xia scolded, gathering the duck back into her arms. When they reached the training ground, they found Jenny leading a squad of Squirtle through drills. Each Squirtle wore a black coat and sunglasses, like little mobsters. The leader had diamond-shaped shades, the others had round ones. Squirtle, Ash called. One of the Squirtle turned, saw Ash, slipped off its sunglasses, and ran on wobbly legs straight into his arms. Squirtle, it chirped happily. It's really Squirtle, Xiao Xia exclaimed. Ash and Si Lang greeted Jenny. Long time no see, Jenny. Long time no see, Jenny smiled. Hello, I'm Xiao Yao. The Xiao Yao siblings introduced themselves. Si Lang stepped forward with a flourish. Jenny, our reunion is fate. He shivered as 3 pairs of hostile eyes fixed on him, and he hurriedly added with a laugh. Long time no see, Jenny. Ash released his original team and old friends reunited. The Squirtle greeted everyone excitedly. The Kanto teammates had been close once, but they'd traveled separate ways after the Kanto journey, and this was the first time many of them had been together in a long while. Squirtle looked around at its old companions and saw how much stronger they'd become. Bulbasaur had evolved into Venusaur and was incredibly powerful, and a little envy stirred. Xiao Yao, delighted at seeing the Squirtle squad, released her own tiny Squirtle. The squad crowded around the little one, and it was so fierce the puppy Squirtle got scared and jumped into Xiao Yao's arms, crying. Squirtle, still nostalgic, marched over and smacked the little guys on their bald heads. They clutched their heads and glared at their boss. Suddenly, a net dropped and captured the Squirtle. What's going on? Jenny cried. Squirtle? The captured Squirtle looked around, confused, and then glanced at the yellow-cheeked mouse nearby. Is this Team Rocket? Xiaoyao asked. Ash squinted. Had the Team Rocket trio returned to their old tricks? A hot air balloon drifted up into the sky, and a net dangled beneath it with the newly captured Squirtle. Musashi was the first to shout from the balloon. I heard the sound of something happening. From beyond the horizon, called another voice. From beyond the big, big bang. Musashi answered. The sound that calls us has spread, the other voice chimed in. You've been waiting a long time, Meowth, someone cried, and Meowth leapt out. The evil flower that blooms bravely, Musashi declared. With a rose in his mouth, the other voice added, the strong and sweet villain. Musashi, Si Lang, I am Meowth, Meowth, where Team Rocket is. World, universe, is waiting for you, they crooned in their usual over-the-top way. Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes. A new opening line? She asked. It really is, Xiao Sheng nodded. Ash muttered, why do they have to put on a show? Why can't they just cause trouble and eat well like before? You're back, Jenny sighed. Haven't you turned over a new leaf? What are you talking about? We are Team Rocket, Musashi snapped. These scoundrels will be our first catch for our comeback. Si Lang, the Team Rocket voice, laughed. That's right, Meowth. You never learn. Deal with them, Ash said, shaking his head. Venusaur. Venusaur fired Razor Leaf, and the balloon's fabric began to leak. Pidgeot used Steel Wing to slice the net. Charizard flew up and caught the netted Squirtle. Pikachu. Pikachu's Thunderbolt sent the hot air balloon spinning away. In a smooth, coordinated rescue, they freed the Squirtle. After a quick chat and some hugs, Ash and the others prepared to move on. Goodbye, everyone called, waving. Squirtle. The rescued Squirtle watched its old friends and felt torn. The other Squirtle looked at their boss, exchanged encouraging glances, and began to plead with him. Jenny saw his hesitation and stepped forward. Go pursue your goal. They're already qualified firefighters. The Squirtle squad slapped their shells confidently. Squirtle moved, gave them a tail slap, and then trotted after Ash on its short legs, making its wish clear. You really want to come back? Ash asked, smiling. Squirtle. Squirtle nodded. It took off its sunglasses, and a blue-white surge of energy flowed over it as it evolved into Wartortle, determined to reach the peak of Pokémon alongside Ash. Ash took out a Pokeball and laughed. All right, I accept your determination. Welcome back, Wartortle. He tossed the ball and returned it to his belt. Xiaoxia smiled. That's great, Ash. Squirtle's back too. Si Lang nodded nostalgically. Ash's original Kanto team had left a lot of memories. Wartortle, gender male, type water, ability strength, late gym stage moves, hydro pump, headbutt, rapid spin, bubble beam, bite, water pulse, terrestrialization type water. With Wartortle back at his side, Ash's group continued their journey in search of Ho-Oh. To be continued. Chapter 137. Entei appears. Chengzi and Zongxi debut. Ash's group arrived at a Pokemon Center deep in the forest, enjoying a relaxed lunch and planning to rest before continuing their journey. Suddenly, a boy burst through the door, cradling a badly burned Vaporeon. He shouted, Help! Nurse Joy, please save my Vaporeon. Let me see, Nurse Joy said, quickly taking the Pokemon and frowning. These burns are severe. What happened? Entei, the boy cried, head bowed. I ran into Entei. It's my fault. I wanted to catch it so badly, and I got careless. The moment the name Entei was spoken, the trainers in the center perked up and gathered around. Nurse Joy carried Vaporeon into the treatment room, trying to calm the boy. It'll be all right. It'll recover, she promised. Outside the treatment room, the boy confirmed what everyone feared. Yes, it was the legendary Entei. I tried to catch it, but it was too strong. My Vaporeon was defeated in an instant, and then Entei disappeared into the forest. Once the word spread, the trainers scattered and rushed into the forest to search for the legendary Pokemon. Ash, thinking of Ho-Oh's trial and the role Entei might play, stood and led the search. They walked calmly through the woods. If Entei truly guarded Ho-Oh, it would reveal itself in time. As if on cue, a roar echoed through a sunlit clearing, and a majestic Entei stepped into view. Entei! Everyone exclaimed. Entei's presence made the hairs on many arms stand up. Entei, divine rank. Ash felt a thrill. A true legendary Pokemon, a member of Ho-Oh's guard, stood before them. Found it! Someone cried. Not far from Ash's group, a little girl had also come to the clearing. She brightened at the sight of Entei, smirked when she saw Ash and the others, and rushed forward to challenge it first. "Piplup, it's your turn," she cried, tossing a Pokeball. Piplup appeared and, without hesitation, launched a full-power bubble beam at Entei. Entei merely leaped aside and landed in front of the girl, causing her and Piplup to tumble backward, but it didn't harm them. Instead, it walked over to Ash and his friends, studied Ash carefully, glanced at his shadow, then leapt up onto a giant rock. Suddenly, Entei returned and spewed raging flames toward Ash's group and the little girl, as if to incinerate them. Two Ultra Balls burst open. Xiaozhi and Xiaolu emerged, taking defensive positions to block the blast. Entei gave a roar, testing them. It had meant only to test Ash's group. It had not expected anyone to possess legendary-level combat power. Before Entei could leave, another trainer stepped forward with a Lucario. He looked refined and composed as he commanded, "Lucario, use Aura Sphere." A sky-blue Aura Sphere flew forward, a guaranteed hit, and struck Entei in the face. After the smoke cleared, Entei stood unharmed, more angered than injured. To be struck so brazenly was an affront. With a loud roar, it repelled Lucario and the young man, then glanced once more at Ash before turning and vanishing into the forest's depths. "Ash, aren't we going to chase it?" someone asked, tugging at him. "No need," Ash said confidently. "We'll meet again." That was the real Entei. Incredible. Another teammate cheered. Brock and Xiaoxia watched quietly. Both had seen Entei before and were unshaken by the sight. Xiaozi and Xiaolu retreated back into their Pokeballs once the danger passed. The little girl, flushed with embarrassment, snapped at Ash and his friends. "Hey, those two alien-looking Pokemon of yours were strong. Why did you let Entei get away?" Xiao Yao cut in. "Shouldn't you be thanking us first? We just saved you." The girl blushed and bowed. Thank you for saving me. I'm Chengzi from Twinleaf Town." The trainers introduced themselves in turn. The young Lucario trainer approached and offered a polite greeting. "Hello, I'm Zongxi from Veilstone City." Chengzi immediately challenged Zongxi and Ash to a battle, full of combative spirit. Zongxi smiled faintly. No interest. He was about to leave, then looked back and warned them. "One word of advice, a storm is coming." With that, he strode off to find shelter. "A storm?" Ash said, alarmed. "We should find somewhere to take cover." Chengzi, indignant, tried to taunt them before they left. "Before you go hide from the rain, why don't you call your mom first?" Ash didn't rise to the bait. "No need for taunts. You'd better find shelter too, Pikachu," he called. "Pikachu." Pikachu answered instantly, and the elite aura flared around him. Chengzi's eyes widened in disbelief as she saw the display. "Even if we battle, it'll wait until the storm passes," Ash added. Chengzi took a breath and said stubbornly, "Deal, but you're not allowed to run away." The skies that had been clear moments before suddenly darkened. Thick clouds rolled in and rain began to pour down. "Oh my gosh, there really is a storm," Chengzi gasped. She'd thought Zongxi had been making excuses to avoid battling her. Amid the sheets of rain, a red glow caught their eyes. They pushed toward it and found a small Charmander sitting listlessly on a giant rock under a tree, soaking wet. The sight felt familiar to Brock and Xiaoxia. It echoed something they had seen before. Ash's mouth twitched. This reminded him of Charizard's own trial, one clinging and one sitting, both exposed to the storm. But where Charizard had once been sheltered by leaves, this Charmander sat directly in the rain. The group closed in as the storm intensified, hearts heavy with concern for the little fire Pokemon. To be continued. Chapter 138, Cross. Charmander has been abandoned again. Just as everyone was about to approach, Charmander suddenly seemed to notice something. It leapt happily off the rock and ran, step by step, toward a trainer walking in the rain. That must be its trainer. Chengzi breathed a sigh of relief. The trainer was about Ash's age, and a midnight form Lycanroc paced by his side. When Charmander bounded up and wrapped itself around his leg, the trainer scowled, kicked it into a puddle, and snapped. "Why are you still here? Get lost!" "Hey, aren't you Charmander's trainer?" Chengzi said angrily. Xiao Gang and the others glared at the man as well. Xiao Xia and Xiao Yao couldn't believe they had stumbled on this scene. Xiao Sheng was equally outraged at how he'd treated the little Pokemon. Ash stepped forward and helped Charmander up, feeling the creature's body temperature dipping. "He used to be," the the trainer said coldly. If it's weak, I abandon it. There are plenty of Charmander at this level. It kept following me, so I told it to wait here. If you want it, take it, he sneered. A Pokemon's strength is what matters. If a Pokemon can become strong by itself, what use is a trainer like you? Ash shot back, cradling Charmander protectively. The trainer laughed. Ridiculous. My name's Cross. I'll be the strongest trainer. Then he turned on Ash. Let's battle. I want to see if your strength matches your talk. Lycanroc's crimson eyes fixed on Ash. With a low roar, Ash's Charizard strode forward on its own, glaring at Cross. The sight seemed to stir something in Charizard, memories of being abandoned long ago. It didn't wait for Ash's command. Its aura flared, and with a fierce dragon claw, it sent Lycanroc skidding back. Elite! Cross ground out through clenched teeth. Xiaozhi shouted, See, Ash's Charizard was abandoned once too, and now it's completely crushing you. Zongxi, Chengzi, Xiao Yao, and Xiao Sheng looked on in surprise. Ash's Charizard had been abandoned before. Cross just smirked, recalled Lycanroc, and stalked away without another word. Humph, an isolated case, he muttered. Good job, Charizard. Come back and rest, Ash called. Charizard gave a triumphant roar of approval and returned to its Pokeball when Ash sent it. Ash held Charmander close. Let's find shelter and get you warmed up. Everyone hurried into a cave deeper in the forest. Zongxi happened to be sheltering there, and seeing them arrive, came down from a high ledge. He looked sharply at the injured Charmander. Why would you abandon it and let it get hurt like this? He demanded. Chengzi quickly clarified. This has nothing to do with Ash. It was abandoned by its trainer, but it kept waiting out in the rain, still believing it would be taken back. Ash and Xiao Gang set up by a small campfire Zongxi had built and began to tend to Charmander. To everyone's surprise, Zongxi proved quite helpful. I want to be a Pokemon doctor, he said with a smile. So I picked up some basic medical knowledge while I travel. I'm also collecting legends about humans and Pokemon. You must have been thrilled to meet Entei then, Chengzi said. Very valuable, Zongxi agreed. Before they could talk more, a roar echoed through the cave. Entei had come down from higher ground with several forest Pokemon seeking shelter. It ignored the humans, gathered the Pokemon on a higher ledge, and stood watch while they rested. Watching Entei and the other Pokemon, Zongxi sighed. In the face of nature's power, humans and Pokemon are the same. That night, with Entei and the other forest Pokemon asleep, Ash and his companions huddled around the fire as Zongxi told legends. There's always been a story that Ho-Oh bestowed life on Entei, he began. 150 years ago, the bell tower, said to be where Ho-Oh communicated with humans, was struck by lightning and burned. Rain put the blaze out, but 3 unknown Pokemon were believed to have died in the fire. Ho-Oh is said to have descended and given life back to them. The lightning that struck the tower, the fire that consumed it, and the rain that extinguished it, those 3 forces became Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, Zongxi finished. My favorite is Suicune, Chengzi and Xiaoxia declared together, then exchanged an embarrassed smile. Just then Ash took something from his backpack, and the little metal feather in his hand caught the firelight. This is a rainbow wing, he said. Zongxi's eyes lit up. So Ho-Oh has taken an interest in you. Legend says it rarely appears to people, but sometimes it gives a rainbow wing to those it favors. Why a feather? Chengzi asked. It's said that whoever carries the rainbow wing and sees Ho-Oh might become the rainbow hero, Zongxi explained. Everyone thought that sounded incredible. It grew late, and Ash suggested they get some sleep. They drifted off by the warmth of the fire. Unbeknownst to Ash, Xiao Yao and Xiao Xia had each leaned against one of his shoulders and slept soundly. Morning came and the storm had passed. Ash woke first, weighed down by the 2 girls on either side. He froze, not wanting to wake them, and found himself awkwardly staring at their sleeping faces. The faint scent of them made him oddly flustered. Xiao Yao and Xiao Xia woke at the same time, and the 3 of them sat up, suddenly embarrassed. Their awkwardness was broken when Entei rose and left with the other Pokemon. Xiao Gang and the others woke too, and conversation resumed. Ash checked Charmander and was relieved to see the little Pokemon's tail flame burning brightly again. You're all right, he said, smiling. The others gathered to examine Charmander. It stood in front of Ash with a small, determined look. Charmander, Do you want to come with me? Ash asked. Charmander stared back, then nodded decisively. All right, let him see your potential, Ash said, taking out a Pokeball. Charmander tapped the ball without hesitation. The light flashed, and the ball clicked shut. Capture successful. Chapter 139, Battle with Xiaozhi, Suicune appears. Congratulations, Ash! Everyone cheer. Ability Solar Power. Special attack is boosted in sunny weather. Strength, Elite Midstage. Moves, Ancient Power, Flamethrower, Dragon Breath. Dynamax attribute Fire. Ash smiled as he read Charmander's data. Charmander was clearly built for special attack, and its Mega Evolution fit the Y form perfectly. Charizard, on the other hand, used physical moves like Dragon Claw and Seismic Toss alongside Flamethrower, making it a better match for the X form. After sketching out a training plan, Ash decided to let Charizard take the lead in Charmander's first few days of training. Charizard's own experiences would make it a good teacher. They packed up and left the cave. When the rain clouds cleared, a rainbow arced across the sky. They say Ho-Oh lives at the end of the rainbow, someone said. Ash's rainbow wing suddenly glowed. He pointed it toward the rainbow, and the wing released a brilliant 7-colored light. Is this the guidance of the legendary rainbow wing? Zhongqi murmured, taking out a town map. That direction is the Yunying Mountains, steep peaks all the way. All right, then the next stop is the Yunying Mountains. We'll go look for Ho-Oh, Ash said, smiling. Ash, I want to see Ho-Oh too, Xiaozhi begged. Zhongqi looked at Ash with hopeful eyes. Me too. I want to see the legendary rainbow hero with my own eyes. No problem. Let's go together. Ash nodded. The 5-person traveling party became 7, and they continued onward. By noon, they reached a small pond in the forest and rested on the shore. Xiao Gang started a fire to prepare lunch, while Zhongxi helped nearby. Ash and Xiaozhi began the battle they'd agreed on earlier. Xiaoxia acted as referee. Xiao Yao and Xiao Sheng watched. Piplup, I'm counting on you. Xiaozhi sent out her ace without hesitation. I choose you, Charmander. Ash called, sending out the Charmander he'd recently caught. Charmander stared at the water-type Piplup without a trace of fear. Piplup, Bubble Beam. Xiaozhi didn't hold back and attacked first. Piplup fired a stream of bubbles at Charmander. Charmander, Dragon Breath. Ash replied calmly. Charmander exhaled a green energy wave that collided with the bubbles in a burst of smoke. Ancient Power, Ash ordered. As the smoke thinned, Charmander slammed both hands down. The ground trembled, and jagged rocks rose up. Charmander gestured, and the rocks smashed toward Piplup. Piplup, Drill Peck, Xiaozhi snapped. Piplup leapt, spinning like a drill. It shattered the rocks and surged at Charmander. Dodge, Ash called. Charmander rolled back, and Piplup's attack missed. Then Charmander spat a thick cloud of black smoke that reduced Xiaozhi's visibility. Piplup, be careful, Xiaozhi warned, heart-pounding. Flamethrower. Piplup, Drill Peck, spin! Xiaozhi added. Piplup twirled into a top and charged through the smoke, trying to break the smokescreen. The flamethrower missed. What? Oh no, Xiaozhi cried. She'd been tricked. That's right, you fell for it. Ash grinned. Charmander, slash! Charmander darted in front of Piplup. A white flash from Charmander's claw sent the spinning Piplup tumbling. Dazed, Piplup shook its head. All right, finish it. Flamethrower, Ash commanded. Xiaozhi shouted, Piplup, wake up! Piplup roused under her cries, but the flames were already bearing down. Piplup! Xiaozhi's voice trembled, but Piplup's growl and effort weren't enough. The flamethrower hit, and Piplup fainted. Ah! I lost, Xiaozhi sighed, reluctantly recalling Piplup. You did well, Piplup. Piplup is unable to battle. Charmander wins. The winner is Ash, Xiaoxia announced. As expected, Charmander is really strong with Ash. That cross is so annoying. Xiao Yao muttered, thinking of cross, and everyone agreed. After the match, Xiao Gang and Zhongxi served the lunch they'd prepared. Worries set aside, the group enjoyed a cheerful meal. In the afternoon, Charmander was hauled off to begin intense special training under Ash's 3 veteran Pokémon. Meanwhile, Xiaoxia, Xiao Yao, and Xiaozhi went into the pond to cool down and play. They changed into swimsuits and returned to the water, teasing Ash as they asked who looked better. Caught off guard, Ash looked them over and answered, You both look great. Then he hurried off to help oversee Charmander's training. The 2 girls smiled and, grabbing Xiaozhi, who had just changed into her swimsuit, they splashed into the pond together. Their graceful figures swam and played. Not far away, Xiao Gang watched enviously. No princess would pay attention to him. A nearby Heartbreak Spinda seemed to sense him and hopped over to cling to Xiao Gang, leaving him frozen and speechless. Charmander's special training began in earnest. Venusaur taught Charmander to use Sunny Day so that its solar power ability could be fully utilized. Wartortle and Charizard took charge of its physical conditioning. A training device was mounted on Charmander, and all afternoon it shuffled between Venusaur and Charizard. Charmander's will was strong. It endured the grueling regimen and, with Venusaur's guidance, soon grasped the basics of Sunny Day. Ash felt confident that after a few more days of targeted training, Charmander would change dramatically. That night, Ash woke unexpectedly and noticed that Chengzi was still awake, scrolling through photos on her camera. Xiaoxia and Xiaoyao, who were dozing beside him, stirred. The two rubbed their eyes and asked groggily, "Ash, what's wrong?" "Look over there," Ash said, pointing toward the forest. Chengzi, absorbed in her album, looked up. Xiaoxia and Xiaoyao followed his gesture. A faint mist had risen from the trees, and a lone figure stood within it. The three girls' top eyes widened. It was the legendary Suicune. Strength, divine rank. "Suicune," they breathed, unable to believe they were seeing it in person. The clearing was still. For a long moment, it felt as if the whole world paused. Suicune's gaze settled on Ash. It nodded once, then faded back into the forest mist and disappeared. To be continued. Chapter 140, Evolve Charmeleon and Meet Cross again. "What? You saw Suicune last night?" Xiao Gang and the others cried in shock. Xiao Sheng clutched his head in regret. He couldn't believe he'd missed seeing Suicune. The next morning, Ash's group set off again. After hearing about Ash and the miraculous encounter, the three girls were full of envy. "The moment our eyes met, time seemed to stop. We were speechless," they gushed. "First Entei, then Suicune. Your luck is incredible," Zongxi said, clearly impressed. "I think my mom should be proud of me too." Chengzi murmured for the first time, surprising everyone. "My mom's a famous trainer back home. She used to nag me about everything. Since I started traveling, I haven't contacted her even once." Zongxi smiled. "I'm sure she'd be happy for you." "Yeah," Xiaoxia and Xiaoyao agreed. "Thanks." The three girls had grown close after a few days together. After several days on the road, Ash's group arrived at a town with a park. Ash got into a battle with a passerby there. "Jigglypuff, use double slap," the challenger shouted. "Jigglypuff." Jigglypuff rushed forward. "Charmander, dodge and use flamethrower, full power," Ash called. "Awoo!" As Jigglypuff struck, Charmander leapt up and out of the way, then unleashed a torrent of flame that engulfed Jigglypuff. "Jigglypuff is unable to battle. Ash wins," Xiao Gang announced. "Well done. Charmander," Ash praised. "Awoo!" Charmander cried happily, and then a blue-white light burst from its body as it evolved. Moves, Flame Vortex, Sunny Day, Fire Fang. "That's awesome. Charmeleon's even stronger now," Xiaoyao cheered. That evening, Ash's group visited the Pokémon Center's data room and found something interesting. "This book is amazing, full of detail. Listen," Zongxi said, holding a volume filled with illustrations. Ho-Oh soars the skies and can sense an aura of happiness from humans and Pokémon to gain energy, but if it senses an aura of evil, the energy is drawn away. A dark feather in one illustration stood out. "What does that mean?" Xiaoyao asked. Zongxi explained, "It's a rainbow wing. If someone with an evil heart touches it, the wing loses its brilliance." "An evil heart?" everyone echoed, surprised. Ash held the rainbow wing and smiled. "Of course Ash doesn't have an evil heart," Xiaoxia said, looking at him fondly, and the others nodded. They'd been traveling with Ash long enough to know what kind of person he was. They didn't know their conversation had been overheard. Cross stood just outside the door, listening. The next morning at the battlefield by the Pokémon Center, the tournament continued. "Wartortle, use spinning hydro pump," Ash called. "Wartortle." The turtle Pokémon withdrew into its shell, began to rapid spin, and fired a hydro pump that sent the charging Snorlax flying. The referee waved his hand. "Snorlax is unable to battle. Wartortle wins. Ash advances." The crowd applauded Ash's impressive fight. Wartortle puffed up, proud of the praise, hands on its hips. "Who will face Ash next?" the referee asked. "Let me." Cross strode onto the field with his Lycanroc and glared at Ash. "Cross," his team called. Isn't that the trainer who abandoned Charmander? Zhongxi asked. Someone answered. So you kept that useless Charmander after all. How about a battle? Cross taunted. He expected Ash to use Charmander and planned to take revenge by beating any non-elite Pokemon Ash sent out. Bring it on, Ash replied calmly. Charmeleon, show him what you've become. Awoo! Charmeleon appeared with a cry, then froze when it saw who his opponent was. Oh, it evolved, Cross sneered. Even so, weaklings are still weak. Come out, my strongest fire type, Incineroar. Roar. Incineroar stepped onto the battlefield. That's Incineroar, the final evolution of the Alola fire-type starter, Zhongqi explained to Xiaoyao. Gym leader early stage. Cross's Incineroar already had a gym leader level designation. Ash didn't flinch. He knew the matchup. Charmeleon, show him your growth. Sunny day. Awoo! Charmeleon shot a light projectile into the sky. The sun blazed, the air grew dry, and Charmeleon's ability kicked in, boosting its special attack. Flamethrower, Ash ordered. Awoo! Charmeleon unleashed a roaring blast of fire. Cross didn't back down. Flamethrower, Incineroar responded, firing a stream of flame from its golden belt that matched Charmeleon's intensity. Flame Vortex, engage, Cross barked. Awoo! Pillars of flame rose around Charmeleon, absorbing Incineroar's attack. Try the combo we practiced, Charmeleon, Ash grinned. Fire Rain Meteor. Charmeleon slammed its hands to the ground. Massive rocks erupted and became engulfed in the surrounding flame vortex, forming a barrage of falling meteors. Hell Lariat! Cross shouted. Dark purple energy surged about Incineroar's arms, smashing the incoming meteors apart. Still, Charmeleon seized the moment and closed the distance, striking with a white-hot blow that sent Incineroar tumbling. Ancient Power! Ash pressed the assault, and massive rocks struck Incineroar one after another. Incineroar, get up! Cross roared, furious. He wasn't about to be defeated by the Charmander he'd once tossed aside. Finish it, Flamethrower! Awoo! Charmeleon unleashed a final massive blaze. As Incineroar staggered to its feet, the flames hit it hard and sent it crashing into a wall, unable to continue. Incineroar is unable to battle. Charmeleon wins. Awoo! Charmeleon's cry echoed. This victory had helped it vanquish the doubts it had carried. Cross scowled at Ash. How about that? The Charmander you abandoned has already surpassed you, Xiaoyao taunted without restraint. Cross retrieved his Pokeball in silence and left, gripping it tightly. After the match, Ash and the others didn't linger in town. They plunged back into the forest and continued toward the Yunying Mountains, unaware that two small tails were quietly following them. To be continued.